You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Woo! I know some of y'all have been waiting for this podcast episode just as much as I have. I mean, talk about 2023 showing up and showing out. I mean, oh my goodness. If the rest of 2023 is gonna be like this, woo, we gonna have a lot. I mean, we're headed, we're in the, about to be start off Black History Month in February, and I just already feel like, I don't know, I just like the action has been nonstop. And we got so much to talk about. And I've been waiting. And some of you all have been listening. My friend Tomas, he's hype. He's an avid Ernestly Speaking fan and listens to the show. And they just know my mind. Like they just see me doing like podcast loading, all of that. And I'm like, yeah, it's coming. But I like to let the weekend, I like to let the whole week, I like to have the full week encapsulated, because even things can go down on a Saturday. Like this Saturday, stuff went down, as you all know. So I try not to, I want the episodes, all the episodes always traditionally drop at the beginning of the week that does the previous week all together. Of course, the most updated information as much as possible, but anything can happen in between. But this was like, I was so tempted, y'all, to do a special edition. I was tempted, but I know I'm going to have a special edition coming out very soon. We'll talk about the end of the podcast, but it's just a lot. So let's just get into some of it. I mean, let me just get into like my week, in general. Like a lot's been going on with the book, as you all know. This week has been super book mode. I mean, February is about to be nuts because that's the book. This is the launch book month. This is it, the premiere. We're weeks away. We're the countdown is here. We're less than a month. And, some great stuff has been going on. So for starters, I mean, I got so much things to talk about. I'm just so excited, y'all. So for starters, the book, Barnes & Noble did a super dope collaboration with all of authors who have pre-ordered copies of their book. And they did a special that ran this week. Some of y'all took advantage of that, 25% off the hardback and the ebook. Through Barnes & Nobles only. They did it from Wednesday to Friday, 3 days. And they did this across the entire site for all authors who got books out on pre-order. All pre-order books were 25% off. And shout out to Barnes & Noble. I mean, as a brick and mortar, they're actually increasing their locations and revitalizing them. So in Philadelphia, the one that was in Rittenhouse has been there forever. They're relocating it on Chestnut Street. So it's getting off of Walnut and now moving to Chestnut, where Forever 21 was. If y'all remember that location, it's going to be in the old Forever 21 on Chestnut Street. Yeah, like right there around 16th and whatnot. Very interesting location choice. But that location is really big. If you've ever been inside that Forever 21, it's huge. So there's upstairs, downstairs, and they're going to just completely, renovate the place, new books, everything. But they're having a super sale of their books there. So for people who are like, and I don't want to be, I don't want to tell too much, but people were like, oh my goodness, Ernest, why won't you do your book, your book release party or whatever at that Barnes & Noble's? Listen, that was an idea at one point in time, but what ended up happening is that they're still relocating right now. So they got massive sales. They're trying to get rid of some books. So if you love books and you want to get some good discounts, you can go there right now, but they're not going to be ready until spring. And I don't know what part of spring. That could be April, maybe March. But, my book comes out February 21st. So I couldn't wait for that. So that's why. But who's to say that down the road there could not be potential other events and things like that, Barnes & Nobles have been a really big supporter of the book. We've been partnering with certain bookstores that work with them. So for example, which we'll get to, is that my public book launch party is going to be on Thursday, February 23rd at the Penn Bookstore. My Instagram, you can go on my Instagram, click the link in the bio, and you can RSVP in advance. You must RSVP in advance in order to attend. You know, security gonna be there. It's gonna be all the right things. But it's gonna be a great book launch party. I'm gonna be discussing the book. You know, I'll be reading an excerpt, taking questions. I'll be taking selfies. Buy the books, hardback books. I'm signing hardback copies. I'm taking selfies. It's open to the public at large. So please bring a friend, come through, RSVP in advance. So many of y'all have been asking me for weeks, months, for a while about the book signing. This is the first kickoff of the national tour. We're going to be in other bookstores across the country. There'll be other events across the country, especially on the East Coast for the first leg of the tour. So more dates are coming. So if you are in other cities around Philadelphia and on the East Coast and other, other parts, we will definitely be there. Stay tuned for those dates. Everything is getting finalized, of course, but we were ready to at least drop the first kickoff, which will be in, of course, the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. Will be at a place that was like my first bookstore experience in Philadelphia, which was the Penn Bookstore. That was the first 12, what is it, 13? Oh my goodness, nearly 13 years ago. The first place I purchased a book was at the Penn Bookstore. And of course, it's connected to Barnes and Noble, which is taking, many copies of my books and orders. So it's a great place. We're going to be upstairs on the second floor. And it's going to be a beautiful, good time. It's going to be fun. So, sidebar, there is another event before that event. Um, there will be a private party that is happening to launch the book that's more intimate for my family and close people. If you got that invitation, that event is still happening. I know some of y'all was like, wait, two parties? This is a private party, which will be on the 21st, but the public party and event will be on the 23rd. And if you love me a lot and you want to go to both, absolutely go to both. But for those people who got that golden ticket, that event is still happening, but that event is clearly not open to the public. And that list has already been made. And people are like, oh, I want to go, I want to go. That list has already been made. That list has already been greenlit. That list has already been confirmed. If you got the invitation, you did the form and all that jazz, you on the list. Bring yourself. You cannot bring another person, but you already know that because you read the instructions. But that's a special event and that's intimate. And I will, of course, share more about that event, once the event happens. But that's a very special event, a small limited event. But to be clear, I was very big on like, no, I need to have two parties in Philadelphia because I need to have bigger space for more people. And the Penn Bookstore is that space. They have joined on par, Penn Alumni Society, my alma mater, my people. Everybody's going to be a part of this experience with the Penn community, with some folks I went to school with my family, my friends. It's going to be a great time. So it's an opportunity. I really was not going to leave Philly out of it. Of course, the girls are like, oh, you national now, you Hollywood now. But okay, don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still from the block. I used to have a little, but listen, listen. I am enjoying this and I want to be able to share it with everybody. So by all means, see you all on the 21st for some. See y'all all on the 23rd for all. Or see you both for some that's going to be able to go to both. But we're super excited about everything. More details to come. I got something special, a little sneaky peek thing that is being created as we speak. I can't talk about it, but stay tuned for the next episode of Ernestly Speaking, where I might drop the sneak peek. It's going to be something really fun and cool, but I don't want to speak on it yet until it's ready. If it's ready, then there's going to be something fun for us to enjoy. So that's on the book. Pen and Pencil Club Awards. Let me just start off by saying, you all stand hard. I love you all. You all are crazy in a good way. So as you all know, last week I was nominated for 2 Philly News Awards. Collaborative Journalism Project of the Year for John, which is an organization I'm co-leading called the Journalism Accountability Watchdog Network. It's a coalition of various groups, affinity groups, PABJ, AJ, NAHJ, Free Press. We all came together. As you all know, we got some attention after I gave the executive editor of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Gabe Escobar, the Thumbs Down Award. And, we've been making strides since then. And we won. We won. We won. You all voted. 2,800 votes were cast, and we won. And then also, I was, of course, nominated for Freelance Journalist of the Year, and I won as well. So, shout out to y'all who, first of all, nominated me for these things, and then voted for me to ensure that I would get a chance to win. Like, that was just wild. As you all know, I don't know if I don't, I've been nominated for these awards, for previous awards by the Pen and Pencil Club and the Philly News Awards for years and was never won. Some people felt like I was robbed, lemonade. I was nominated in 2015. My first award, I was nominated in 2015 when I was at Metro Philly, and I was nominated for Best Multimedia Journalist of the Year. I lost that year. That was like 8 years ago. Then 2016, I was nominated for Community Reporting of the Year for my work on neighborhood racism for Philly Mag. Now, a lot of people was rooted for me for that award, really thought I should have got it and been nominated in this, that, and third. But I was snubbed. So, at that time, I was like, I think I was nominated in 2017 as well. But, I never won. I was always snubbed. So I was at a point where I was like, you know what? I want to make change. Like, why is it that, there's not that many Black winners? What's going on here? So I actually joined the board of the Pen and Pencil Club, and I served for like about 3 years. And while I was on that board, I worked to help advise to make the Philly News Awards more diverse. And so some of the stuff I advocated for was like, hey, we got to do more outreach. We got to let more people nominate. We got to change the way people can vote and get engaged. And, we just need to really do better to select the nominees and to, spread this out to different outlets and also increase the voter participation. And so I did those things. Maybe I should be a city commissioner one day. I'm joking. But I was like, we got to change this. And so to be able to come back like nearly 8 years later, 8 to 7 years later after being snubbed and, whatever, and to win 2 awards in the same night, that shit was dope. And it's also just a testament of, what I always believe in my career, that, hey, if you see a problem, don't just leave mad. Maybe you should be a vessel for someone else. And so when I was on that board, in the work that I was doing the board with the other members who were great, we increased the number of diverse winners. Like, there was one year where a bunch of Black and brown winners won. And even this year, a lot of Black and brown winners won. Like Trinae Nori won Best Podcast for CityCast Philly. Which she won, Podcast of the Year. Congrats to her. Kenny Cooper won, y'all, from Health Reporter of the Year. Patty Jackson won Commentary of the Year. Quinta Brunson won Newsmaker of the Year, which I told you I was voting for her. Who else won in categories? Chantel from the Philadelphia Tribune won. It was a lot of great people that won, and a lot of Black winners who won. So I was super excited about that aspect of it for sure. So, and then I was also a winner, right? So it was just a lot of love in that regard, and so it was nice to see that, for sure. And thank you so much. I'm looking at my trophy case and my awards case, and we're just finding new ways to make room. What I'm saying, look like this year gonna be a winning year. I'm gonna have to move some things around, maybe take some books off and replace some trophies. We try to do like a bookshelf, picture frame, trophy case, small miniature figure case, but now it's looking like it's gonna be just a bunch of trophies. But hey, we love it. So thank you all so much for inflating my ego and making me feel good. Speaking of awards, so I had my Emmy retreat. I'm a part of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Mid-Atlantic chapter. We had our first in-person retreat in years since the pandemic, and it was a great time. We was, in King of Prussia, had a nice little, conference room, breakfast and lunch. It was popping, y'all. And it was great. I was there to talk about Emmys and talk about the process of submissions and applications and, fees and, coming up with creative ways to make them affordable and accessible and more diverse. I love this work. This is the work I do. This is the way that you could do DEI in fun ways. And in the media. Like this is my field. I'm in journalism and media. Like this is what I bring to the table. This is the work. So people be like, what did that Ernest Thomas do? All he do is promote himself. All he do is talk about himself. Like this is the shit I also do. And this the stuff that I'm doing on a regular basis, like increasing access and opportunity, being in the real rooms where we can shape and shift the narrative. That's the work. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what keeps me, because I believe that at the end of the day, if you have a diverse, industry, then that makes me want to stay in the industry. Like, it can't just be one person or two or three great Black folks in journalism that's doing it and winning, but there's no legacy, there's no pipeline, there's no increase. And so for me, it's always been important to me that I never want to be the only one or the few or the what they would consider talents to the group. We can't do that anymore. We need to spread this out. We need to create it, because people need to be able to be in positions to hire, advise, mentor. And it needs to be young people that needs to be in spaces where there are mentors for them. Like what we're seeing across the industries, not just in journalism media, is that, whether you're talking about therapy, psychology, engineering, politics in certain places, education, higher education, academia, all these places, you start to see, and even nonprofits, right? You see, okay, there's an emerging group of young Black people that are really passionate about being in the industry, but they don't have any mentors. They don't have any people that can create a pathway for them, an opportunity pipeline for them. So we need to be doing two things at the same time. We need to be hiring qualified, certified, senior Black folks in leadership, senior roles and managerial roles. We need to hire people that are young to come into those spaces where they can see people like them leading, so they can see themselves in those roles and be able to do. One of the things that has been interesting in my career is that I've had to enter spaces where there was no one else that I didn't have anyone to see that looked like me that could be in that position, because I was the first. And I want to be in a position to put people in, interns, fellows, and folks, so they can see me in a position so they can see that possibility. So we just created, possibility maps for folks. And I think that that's something that we don't talk about enough across industries as Black and brown folks. We just need to be doing this more strategically and having these conversations with folks that know how to do it. If you don't know the model, holla at me. Let's talk about it. White people too. White people call me and they pay me. I consult, and be like, look, I'm trying to create that pipeline. And sometimes I'm like, look, you need to hire somebody. You need to get out of your own way. There's other ways to succeed and do great work. And some of these people want to be the answer to everything, or they learn how to yield. And so it's great to have a list of referrals and say, okay, this person could do this, or here's what I would do to help you if you're already in it. But we all need to be working together. So if you're a white person on this podcast listening, you need to hire and pay a Black person to consult, and you need to listen to what they're saying and you need to act on it. They might tell you need to step down. They might tell you need some other backup, but get to the point and get comfortable with getting counsel from other people that's not like you. And that goes for everybody in different positions. Whether you're an older person, a senior person role, you need to get millennial feedback. Pay millennials to come in and give you that, but also be in a position to change your blueprint and your apparatus so that you don't have to keep hiring consultants and that this is your team. So these are the things that, I've been, working on with different people, leaders in Philadelphia, nationally, locally, regionally, whatever. This is the kind of conversations that we're trying to have right now. So, take it. So yeah, retreat was great. Loved it. You all saw some great pictures. I put the pictures up of the board of governors. Not everyone was there. We have definitely more people of color on the board, but this is the Mid-Atlantic region, so we got people from all over different parts of the Mid-Atlantic area. So some people look, I'm on a Saturday, and most of these people are in the broadcast industry because it is the television news. I'm coming as an independent producer through my work with Philadelphia Community Access Media and also my own independent work. So a lot of people come at TV stations. They're in Pittsburgh and Harrisburg and places, so they can't, track over to Philly like that. But it was dope that they had it in Philly. They even had the Emmys in Philly. But it looks like later this year, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Emmys, that is going to be taking place, the regional ones, are not. They were in Philly last year at the Lowe's. But this year they might be somewhere else. So I'm like, but I gotta be fair because Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth is not just Philly and not just Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. We might be in Lancaster, I think we're gonna be in this year. Or Lansdowne. I think it's Lansdowne maybe. But it's somewhere like that. I think it's Lancaster. But there's some Marriott there, and I think we might be there. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it. But yeah, I'm super excited. Love my crew, love the work that we're doing. Stay tuned. Um, Great dope week. I went to Friends Select School to talk to some young people about journalism and race. Really great conversation. The future is bright. They were all like, they're high school students, but they were really smart, like smart, smart. They was asking me like questions that even grown folks don't ask. Listen, I don't look, the future is bright. They might not, you know, I was very impressed. And, one of the great things we talked about in the conversation was just like the role of media literacy and how a city like Philadelphia, there's a lot of people in Philadelphia are illiterate. I think the majority of adults in Philadelphia are actually illiterate. Did you know that? It could have changed, but those were stats that was not that long ago. Look up Philadelphia adult literacy. It's really, really bad. And so my mindset is that if we got people who can't actually read, or they say the word functionally illiterate, if we got a lot of people like that in our community, then we can't even have a conversation about information and misinformation. Because if they can't even read, then we haven't even talked about media literacy, how they can analyze it. So every time I turn around, I'm always going to be an advocate for something. But we need to have a conversation about literacy in Philadelphia, and even literacy across the country, because there's some people can't read. That's reading and writing, that's serious. So the conversations we were having was like, wow. So yeah. And then before I get into the hot topics, skincare, I've been talking to my skincare. I'm trying to get this face beat, not with makeup. I don't wear makeup, but getting this face ready for the month ahead. Got to get this skin popping. My skin is popping. Y'all laugh at my jokes. Yes, I use some really good skincare products. I'm really falling in love with Kiehl's. Yes, I know I was on my Neutrogena Hydro Boost era, and I was pushing those products, and they really are good for hydration. But I went to Kiehl's again. Kiehl's showed me some love with some great products, and I, went to the skincare, botanist, or whatever. I went over there to talk to skincare people there. I don't know if I should call them dermatologists. They're wearing these white jackets, but I don't think they're dermatologists, but they wear the white jackets. There's like science about like how the white jacket or the white coat in stores and stuff increases credibility to make you want to buy something. Listen, I think that may be what it was. But they went and did my skin, said my skin was really, really hydrated, and that, I need to work on my skin barrier more, which I started doing. So I said, well, what kind of products do you recommend? And they was giving me some products. And I was like, you know what? But listen, I'm telling you, I'm in love. I'm obsessed. And I've seen some quick results fast, but I've been using some of their products anyway. Been really into eye cream lately. I don't know why. I really have drinking the eye cream Kool-Aid. There was a great article in the New York Times talking about eye creams lately. And I'm like, I didn't even know about that, but I've just been on that trend. Eye creams and eye rollers have been the thing. Men are really buying eye rollers again. Women have been doing eye cream forever, but I'm in love with eye cream. I think it works. I feel like for me, I party sometimes, drink, whatever. You feel that hangover, that grog you see in the bags. It's like, okay. But they work if you work them. But I've really been increasing my skincare regimen even more. So what I've been doing lately, my process has been, I've been on all Kiehl, 100% Kiehl products. That's the first. Except for my spray mist. I got a spray mist from another company, Thatcher's or Tyre's or whatever. They have a great toner, but I'm using Kiehl's toner now. So like how I do it now is I do oil cleansing. They have a really good oil cleansing at Kiehl's, a Midnight Recovery. I use that. I do oil. I'm still doing my oil cleansing. I'm using their Ultra face wash, which is, I used in the past, but I'm bringing it back again in my regimen. Then after that, I'm using their toner, which I found the oil-free toner. At first, I used another toner, and it was like oily based, and I was like, my skin, I didn't feel like I was getting dirt out. But this oil-free, that's about my alley. I like an oil-free toner, so I used that, and that shit was phenomenal. That's great. And then, okay, there's another product that I'm using. It's called like True Skin or something like that. It's a hyaluronic acid vitamin E serum that I also got. And that, oh my goodness, that is wonderful. So what I do is I put that serum on my skin. Now, so the next product I use is from Kiehl's. It's a retinol serum, daily dosage serum with retinol in it, and I really like it. But let me just add that after I messed up on a step. So after I finish doing the toner, I spray a mist on my skin that gives me like a nice little film of like, hydration. And then I put that hyaluronic acid serum on my skin. The reason why is because one of the dermatologists I spoke to told me that hyaluronic acid connects to the water in the skin, the base, and once they connect to water, it creates a moisture on the skin and hydrates the skin even more, and it connects to it, which even does its job better. And almost like it activates it. So after I do the toner, I spray that mist, which you can buy any type of skin mist as long as it's water based in some type of way, but it contains, essential oils, essentials and, different toners and stuff, but a nice good spray mist to give your face a little bit of a mist on the skin, and then provide that hyaluronic acid serum on it. So once I do that and I rub it in, I let it soak in a little bit, like a minute or so, I go over with that daily retinol serum that I use as a base. Beautiful stuff. And then I've been using another thing from Kiehl's I love. I do the eye cream at that point. There is this really super ultra, cream. It's in a purple bottle. And that product is the shit. It's like a really good finishing cream that I use. And oh my goodness, it's from Kiehl's as well. And it is an incredible product. I use that. And then after that, I use the Midnight Recovery concentrate. Now this concentrate is like a little bit of oil base, and I put it over the thing. You don't need too many drops, but I use this concentrate, and that covers the face, and that like locks in everything and strengthens the skin barrier. I've been doing that for the past several days. If you're seeing pictures of me and you're like, Ernest, your skin is popping, I'm going to say thank you, but that's the work. Okay? I do that in the morning and I do that in the night. Now in the day, I don't use the concentrate, but in the night I do. And that's how I'm keeping this skin flawless. Now, some of y'all, my friend Amanda like to remind me, not everybody's skin can be like that. I say, you right. So other things I've done, great water, healthy eating. I take my vitamins. I mind my fucking business. Unless it's the business that pay me. I have good sex, and I'm honest, and I have good genetics. Oh yeah, Amanda's gonna remind me that. Good genetics plays a role. My mother looks like the fountain of youth. That's just what it is. So that's the skincare regimen. So a lot of y'all ask, and I love the DM. Someone messaged me and was like, "Oh, I love the video, Sam, but I just can't help but look at your skin." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." I think that's my tender compliment. I mean, I appreciate all the other compliments. My teeth, my nails, love the compliments of my nails. But I think when people say I have good skin. Oh, and my other one, when they say I smell good, I love that. I love when women tell me I smell good. I don't know what it do for me, but when women be like, "Oh, you smell good," I'm like, "Oh my goodness." I don't know. That's the nicest compliment. It's like when people say I have good skin when I smell good. As a man, that makes me feel good. Because it's not easy to have good skin as a man and also smell good. Like, I smell good. I love my fragrances. I really think about how I smell. Brothers out here listening, men out here listening, get you some good cologne, okay? And everybody's cologne is different. Don't go out, everybody can smell good with Creed. Everybody want to buy Creed, okay? Now, some of y'all might smell good with Creed. I don't buy Creed personally. Not that it's bad, but I just feel like, damn, everybody smell like Creed. Get you a good fragrance. And let's talk about the essence, okay? If it ain't toilette and perfume, you need to go up a level in essence level, okay? We cannot be doing the basic cologne. Like, we need to be up, up and perfume. It's the essence level that makes it last longer than cologne. So I only do la toilette, or I go up to the perfume. You got to go up those levels. If you start the basic level of essence, it's not going to last long. You can't hold the scent. Now, pros of scent know what I'm talking about. Some of this is an education. It's okay. We're not judging on Ernestly speaking. I love to talk about, what we talking about right now. So I want to make sure I'm educating y'all on the levels. So the way we go about it is that if you start off with the cologne, now I'm not saying cologne as in cologne. All of it's called cologne. But if you look at the bottle and it says cologne, right? That is low. That's low. So let's go to the basics on scent and how you can get to the levels. Because there is about 8 levels, but not really. Soap is a basic level. You get a scented soap or a scented aftershave or splash, you get in like 2 to 4% of the scent that's gonna last. It's gonna rub off. You're gonna smell it when you got the shower, and in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it's gonna fade away. Now, if you get you a body cream or lotion, that got a higher level of scent. So that's like 3 to 4%. That's going to last for about, again, another 30 minutes to an hour. Now, when you get your cologne, and it says cologne, right? And it says at the bottom it's cologne, that's like 2 to 4%. Again, that's not really going to last. Now, let's talk about the levels. Now, you get eau de toilette, right? That is the eau de toilette in French. You know, the EDT. We call it EDT. EAUDE toilette. That is 4 to 8%. Now that's you got a little range there. That's the bare minimum in your cologne. That's gonna last about 2 to 4 hours. So if you're going out to a little dinner, you don't gotta respray, because once you spray yourself, that lasts. So that's a birthday dinner. That's a happy hour. You spray yourself down, it's gonna last. Now, the price on that is you're gonna spend a little money on that, but not too much, but a little bit. Now, if you gangster, you get the Eau de Parfum, EDP, EAUD Parfum. That's PARFUM, okay? You get that. That's 8 to 15% of potency in the essence of that cologne. Now, that's a high level cologne. I wear stuff like that when I'm going to a gala. I'm on a, if I'm, back in the day when I was on dates when I was single, but when I go out with Mr. Johnson, it's a nice night, like his birthday is in February because he's an Aquarius, I'm probably going to put something like that on, okay? Now, we're going to talk about the variations, but that's some serious shit. You don't got to wear that all the time. There's some brothers out here that everywhere they go, they like P. Diddy. They got to put that shit on all the time. You don't got that's strong. That's going to last some hours. You may be doing a little too much. Then there is perfume. That's 15 to 25% essence. Listen. Listen. You better not be cheating. You don't wear that on if you out here in these streets, because that's going to leave an imprint on whoever you fucking, it's going to be in the sheets. So whoever you love, that's going to be on their sheets or their couch. You leaving them imprint. If you talking to a married woman or a married man and you give them a hug, whoever is getting perfume, that's PERFUME, that's perfume. If you using that essence level, you trying to get somebody set up. You trying to fuck with somebody. You walk in the house and you smelling, that's how somebody gonna get caught. That's some deadly shit. Now, I don't wear that kind of stuff. I used to back in the day when I was petty. I called it my petty perfume. That essence right there gonna get someone in trouble. Let me tell you something. Back in the day, listen, I had a bottle or something in that. That is expensive as hell. Let me tell you, that's when you get the little mini bottle, because you don't need too much of that. You don't need to spray yourself down. Now, that El Teloyet, that's what I use sometimes. Now, you need to spray a little bit, but that poom, that's all you need, because that shit is loaded, okay? That's going to change the game. You hug somebody, ladies, your man going to smell it. You can't shake that shit off. You might as well take those clothes off and burn it. And you don't even want to use fire because it's so strong, the alcohol in it is so strong, it's going to burn the whole house down. You're going to have to get rid of them clothes. You're going to have to take them clothes to the cleaners. And maybe if you take them to the cleaners, you still may not get that scent out. And then last but not least, there is the extract solid perfume. That's 20-30%. Y'all don't need that. That's too much. That's, I don't know. That's you trying to get your house clean. You don't really need to be putting that on your body. That's like the raw essence of the scent or the fragrance. That's too much. Okay? Like, if you don't have a sense of smell, you might feel like you need that to smell it. Trust me, you don't. So that's your levels. And everything I said to you go from lowest to highest. Most people, like I said, go for the EDT, the Eau de Toilette, and the Eau de Parfum. Stick with that. That perfume, and that's you in some other trouble. Stick in that range, okay? When you go to the store and you get cologne, look at the boxes at the bottom, brothers. Look at that little label that say that. When you go to Macy's and you buy your cologne, ask for these different fragrances. When you're saying, well, why does this bottle of Versace Dylan Blue costs this much, but this one don't. It's because of the essence levels. It's because of the levels of the elasticity of the fragrance, how long it lasts and lingers. So if you, and this also goes for women too, by the way. Women with perfume, this is the same thing with perfume too. Like it works the same way, the same levels, the same situation. So everybody needs to be smart out here, be safe out here, get the good shit. So I need to see y'all with de toilette and de perfume. And anything higher than that, you in trouble. Anything lower than that, you in trouble. Stick in that range. We doing EDP, EDT. No EDC, no cologne. That's whack, that's weak, that's Axe. Stay away from that shit. That's a waste of money. Okay? Pay that extra $15 more. Pay that extra $25 more if you want to upgrade. But get you some good cologne. So, my random lecture of the week is complete. But, just wanted to put that out there. That's so random, but I just felt passionate about it. But get some good skincare. It's 2023. It's winter, so we need to be protecting our skin. And last but not least, shout out to my favorite, one of my favorite Aquariuses, Samantha Thomas, my girl. She's so young, y'all. She's younger than me, okay? Her birthday was this weekend. She's celebrating Atlanta. She wanted me to come through. The doll had a retreat and some other business. But happy birthday, baby. She's my pseudo wife. Y'all don't understand this because I was like, pseudo wife, what does this mean? So me and Sam, Mary Poppins, we've been good friends, besties for like over a decade. We both knew each other at Penn freshman year. We started off, of course, she sung at my wedding with my other bestie, Nina. They're like the most dynamic vocal duo in my life. But we knew each other and we just hit it off. We was both from the South, Georgia, Texas, and we just hit it off. And we just would always take pictures together. Like we just always took pictures. And it became a running joke where when people look at these pictures, like y'all look like a couple. Like y'all look like y'all like, y'all some couple that have been through some things. I'm like, what? And it just began to be a thing where we just started taking these pictures. Every time we took pictures, we just like a couple. We just had the same melanin tone, the vibe, the energy. We just look cute together. So it was always this running joke of, her being my pseudo wife, I being her pseudo husband, because we just cute together. And so we've always taken these pictures. So everybody look at the pictures, we look like a couple. But we look good. I love her. I love her. If I was straight, listen, okay? She's so sweet, and I love her to bits and pieces. And she's gonna be in Philly for my, my little VIP party. So can't wait to see her. Can't wait to see all my friends. But happy birthday, girl! Shout out. She listens to the podcast religiously, and what's funny about her is that she listens to the podcast, and I know she be listening because she'll tweet out random stuff in the middle, and I'm like, damn, you listen. Damn. I love it. I love when y'all do that. I'm like, damn, y'all really be like seeing it. But she's so sweet. And I shouted her on Instagram. She is taken, ladies and gentlemen. People in the comments like, oh, she thick. Who that? Listen, she is spoken for. She is spoken for. That is a spoken for woman. So, and she's in a long-term committed relationship. Y'all always do it with my friends. All of my friends. Amanda is definitely spoken for too. Okay? Brother Joe don't play that. Okay? Mr. Joe, no. Joe, listen, you better go on her page and look at who Joe is. That the man who looked like the tall security guard, that's him. And he will fuck you up. And I'm going to sit back and let him do it. I will watch him. Like Mimi said in Love and Hip Hop. Get him. Get him good. Listen, I'm just letting y'all know. Who is single in my group? Well, let me be clear. I have some single homegirls, but they're not interested. No applications. I mean, ballers only. But I don't even know if ballers is a thing, because they ballers and they all right. But they, if you interested in inquiries, not that I'm running, I'm not a pimp. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, if you're interested, please step forward. There might be interest. Because sometimes, how you with your girls, and they be like, I don't want nobody. But then, when they having enough drinks, they be like, why I ain't got nobody? I mean, there gotta be somebody. And I'd be like, I thought you were saying, listen, it'd be complicated. So, if you a decent person, I'm going to vet. Let me be the vetter. I'm going to vet you first. And if there's some serious inquiries and you got your shit together, I might put in a request. I've done it in the past. And I must say, sometimes the situations work out and sometimes they don't. But it's all good. It's all good. Oh my goodness. You know how you be just know you just like talking too much on the podcast. But listen, I'm in my zone. Okay. So, to hot news that's been going on. Look, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I'm not even going to make it a thing. First of all, I don't care about any of the stuff going on with. I don't care about any of the stuff going on with the Eagles. I really don't. I just want to get that out the way. The Eagles, this, the Eagles. Look, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the Super Bowl. I don't care about the NFL. I don't care. I don't. And people can say, Ernest, you're a hater, you this, yeah. Y'all know how I feel about it. My whole thing is, and I'm gonna keep it 100, and I'm gonna express myself about this, like whether they win, lose, whatever. We see streets being told not to do certain things because of what happened to, we see this. Okay, when we're looking at, Tyre Nichols, right? Which I'm gonna talk about more in depth in a minute, but we got to close streets off and we're worried about protests and this, but then, Eagles win or fall, whatever. Everybody want to get hype. Everybody want to, there's got to be polls, grease, and all this shit. It's just interesting to me how what we prioritize as a city, as a society. You would think post Black Lives Matter, this shit would just not be continuing to happen and be treated this way. But what we allow to happen versus what we do, I just don't fucking care about the Eagles. I don't care about all of this. I really don't. I don't. So, just getting out the way before I get into the other more pressing news, because Black Lives Matter more to me than these games. So last week I think about a week or so ago, I talked about the whole Biden papers, investigations, and all that. Well, now former Vice President Mike Pence got classified documents discovered at his house. And of course, his quote was, "Mistakes were made." But y'all was throwing shade. This recent discovery has complicated the entire GOP response, of course, to Biden's debacle. Because now Mike Pence got some documents. So, Trump had them. Mike, look, I don't know. I told y'all this is such a non-issue. I don't really care. I really don't care about these documents. I'm just trying to figure out, what are we telling the people, journalists, like my fellow colleagues in this industry? What are we trying to tell the public? Are we trying to tell them corruption's happening? If not, is this really the best use of resources, special prosecutors, investigators? Can we just, and in both parties, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We want universal health care. We want law enforcement to be held accountable. Shit. We care about other issues. Next case. Next case. And also, too, let me just add this. I don't really give a fuck about George Santos anymore. I'm tired of the George Santos marathon. Okay, the drag queen stuff, that was interesting. But at this point, George Santos, he's a liar. He's a lie. Everything's a lie. Until there's an indictment, I'm not going to update the podcast unless there's a resignation or an indictment or something serious coming down. But all these little things, I'm just this is is it a slow news day? It cannot be a slow news day, because I got a ton of stories that we can make national. Hello. We can be talking about other things. So I'm just not really crazy about that. Now, let's get into this Trump situation. Trump is back on social media, y'all. Well, he's invited back. Meta, which runs Instagram and Facebook, they about to let the beast out. Twitter is about to do it. They kind of getting ready for that. All this shit that we done dealt with. He got taken off 2 years ago? 2 years ago, y'all. And now he's back on. But everybody want to get mad about cancel culture. Everybody want to get mad about cancel culture. But he back on now. Guess we didn't cancel him though, right? But he back on. So I have some thoughts about that. And honestly, look, we'll see. We will see. We will stay woke. I just kind of feel like they feel like there's money to be made. We got the elections literally next year. So they're letting him get ready to gear up to take over these platforms, to spread misinformation, and to get back out here with the bullshit. We already understood the consequences the last time. He's not a sitting president. This is no point. And yeah, so there you have that. So I want to talk, Tyre Nichols is a black man who is another black man who was extrajudicially killed by the police, innocent, in Memphis. And I want to talk about some of this stuff. These officers have been charged. They got released on bail. It's 5 black officers. As a black person, I am not fucking shocked. If you follow my rhetoric, there are no good police in the racist system. That institution of white supremacy impedes into anti-blackness that corrupts and puts all of them in contempt. The system is fucking broken. You cannot DEI and reform this shit. Memphis is interesting because they were doing all types of police reforms. They were trying to diversify the representation. They got a black woman, in leadership there. They had all the things that look like the ingredients to, be good. And they still fucked up. Anytime 5 black officers, which, the great James Baldwin spoke of this back in the day about corrupt police and how black police were worse because they knew the community. They knew our inner workings in ways that white cops will never know in certain ways. And so there is a level of disgust as another black man to see these men do this to this man, this young black man, this innocent young black man. And this man was a father. This man was into skateboarding, taking pictures of sunsets. He was human. And his life got taken away too soon by these barbaric pigs. And I don't know why people are trying to act like, oh, if the officers are black, like the response is gonna be different. No, it's not. Because this system is fraud. This system is all cap. And when you look at the mugshots of them and they look shocked, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening to us. What's even interesting is they got bailed out quickly, right? If they would have been, if they would have been non-cops, you think they would have let those black men be so quick to have bail and be released? Disgusting. But the truth of the matter is that this also strengthens my belief about defunding the police as it currently is. We spend all this money on officers not doing their jobs. We spend all this money believing that we can reform the system. You cannot reform this shit. How do you reform it? There is clearly an institutional structure in place that gives these officers this level of authority and power that makes them feel like they cannot be accountable. And we have politicians that are drunk off of FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, union money that buys their complicity and puts them in a position where they don't feel like they can hold them accountable. So who's going to hold them accountable? The government seems like they can't. You got people out here like Biden who will not apologize for saying trash ass shit like, don't defund the police, fund the police, refund the police, all this, like they ain't got no money. Like, it's just all these badass takes. And these are by Democrats and Republicans. This is where Democrats and Republicans are both bad on this position. The Democrats, the moderates and leaders and people in control, like run off of tough on crime policies. Like you got people in the Democratic Party run for mayor right now pushing tough on crime policies that don't work, mandatory minimums and other shit. We're going to get to that in a minute because there's some floppity ass shit going on. And we're going to talk about all of that. But like we have a system in place that is corrupt, that's fraud. And everyone keeps saying reform. Well, when have we not been trying to reform the police? I feel like there's been nothing but conversation about reform. Reform is not working. There was reform in Memphis to diversify and create these policies, and they still fucked up. Now you got black officers that are actively and aggressively, well, first of all, not new, but they've been doing this shit, that are just actively killing our people. And the irony is that these cops walk around talking about, y'all want to talk about Black Lives Matter, but what about y'all killing each other in our communities? Well, your black cops are also killing black people in these communities. So what now? What now? What makes you any different from the thugs, quote unquote, that you want to say is killing and shooting people in the communities? What makes you any different? Except that you actually have a job and you have a salary and you're actually paid to fucking do it. And you're not acting in a sense of lack of therapy and mental health resources. You have all of the resources, the insurances to get therapy, to get all the things you need. And you still choose to go out and act reckless, even with all the resources and benefits that you're afforded, with or without a college degree, mind you. You have one of the most competitive, ridiculous ass salaries on the fucking... You know how much cops get paid starting? They get paid more than motherfuckers with degrees, the benefits. And I'm not saying that, well, most of them in Philadelphia are not actually patrolling the streets. So one could say, well, what about they're risking their lives every day? Well, most of them are behind a keyboard or doing other shit that is not actually putting their lives at risk directly. So you can't even say at this point that, oh, all these police are out here risking their lives. A lot of these police officers, according to the data that we know, thanks to Rebecca Reinhardt, former city controller, her report, that a lot of these officers are not actually doing the work you think they're doing. Like, you're watching all this propaganda on TV and you're thinking that all of them are on some, bad boys, what you going to drive in the street. Most of them are actually somewhere like The Office. They're more of The Office than they are cops, the show cops. They're not like NYPD Blue, right? They're more actually The Office. They're actually in the office folding papers and stacking papers and eating donuts and drinking water and gossiping at the water cooler. They're actually living their office lives like us with fatter salaries, better benefits, and no degrees, some of them, right? That's how they're really living. The reality is that someone should make a meme or a graphic of like what you think cops are doing versus what they're really doing in Philadelphia. Because they're not really out there patrolling. Most of them are not patrolling. Most of them are doing the other, marginal work. So you're actually funding a bunch of office workers that's doing the work of everybody else, and you're giving them inflated salaries in the name of, protecting and serving. But the gag is they're too busy on social media making racist social media posts. They're too busy getting inflated overtime and abusing the system. I mean, these are all articles and reports that show this. I'm not pulling rabbits out my ass. It's a fact. You just don't want to believe it because you can't have the imagination to envision a different world that doesn't look like this shit. So, I don't want to hear politicians talk about this. If you're not having a conversation about how to really fix this budget, create alternative forms of community engagement outside of policing, then I don't want to hear it. That's all. All the mayors running. That's one topic that I don't agree with any of them on. I think all of them are trying to placate to these moderate blue collars. These moderate blue collars don't give a fuck about you or your progressive views. All of y'all. Y'all trying to play them games. Y'all being half-assed with it. It's the one thing that I don't agree with any of these candidates about. None of these candidates who are running for mayor, I think they're not saying the things they need to say about this. I think they're all trying to, half-ass it, all of them. So, it is what it is. But again, I'm going to vote. I'm going to have to vote for someone. But on this issue, I just feel like all of them are either whack, problematic, weak on the issue, or just completely dumbfounded. So I'm going to put that there. So as far as the mayoral race overall in Philly, before we get into one particular mayor candidate in general, it's been messy. The race, the gloves are off. I keep saying that, but we're now at the end of the month. The gloves are off. The girls are fighting. Not the girls, not the women in the race, but just, it's a term like the girls. It's a gender neutral word in this regard. The girls. Okay. So some of y'all like, he talking about women? No, I'm talking about the candidates. Okay. It's a term. Because, you got some people listening to the show that's like, what he's saying? Let's educate ourselves. So the people are fighting. The candidates are fighting. Let me just start off by saying, just sidebar, it's a lot of mayoral candidates forums going on. I can't watch all of them. I can't go to all of them. I can't even pretend. It's like tons, dozens. And to be honest, in my opinion, speaking honestly, in my opinion, I feel like some of these are like overlapping, and I wish that more people would have just kind of either waited and spread this out, or they could have just combined them. I just feel like there's a lot of money going into these races and money to support coverage, and I support those efforts. But I kind of feel like we're getting like forum overload. And like also too, following these forums, it's not seem like it's that many new people going. It seems like the same types of people are going. And most of the public is working right now. Like I love that I have friends that are like from various backgrounds. Some of my friends are in college. Went to school, college, didn't go to college, working class, elite, C-suite. Like I got different types of friends. And what's interesting is that a lot of my friends are not following these races right now. Like they know a little bit about them. A lot of them say, Ernest, I only know what I read from you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But outside of that, they're seeing some ads on TV. but it's like they're not fully in the minutia of it all. That has changed this week clearly because some stories have come out that's been juicy. But like as far as like the larger things, I just feel like they're not really following. And that makes sense because to be honest, none of these candidates have knocked on their doors yet, really. None of them have asked for petition signatures are not out until Valentine's Day, February 14th. So there's not been a lot of petition signatures or heavy lifting on that front. So I feel like some of these candidates right now, it's just like, but when we get to, I would say, mid-February, it's going to increase because city council and mayoral candidates are going to all be fighting against signatures. And let me just say right now, there's a lot of people run for city council that should not be run for city council. They don't have a damn level of experience, and some of these people can't keep a job. I want to ask some of these people, running for office is a 4-year term. City council mayor is a 4-year term. Have you ever kept a job or stayed in the industry or career for 4 years or more in a way that makes you qualified to feel like you could be able to be in this job? Because real rap, some of these people, I feel like this is probably going to be your first ever legitimate job. No shade, but let's keep it 100. A lot of people call themselves political advocates and activists. Child, have you ever had a real job for these 4 years? Because to be fully transparent, this past week, I celebrated 7 years at Philadelphia Magazine. I've had my company, of course, Ernest Media Empire, has celebrated 5 years, as a, official LLC. How many of y'all are keeping consistent jobs, not necessarily with one particular company, but like in one particular field? I'm looking at some of these people, I'm like, you hopscotching around. Have you ever really committed yourself to a field or career where you've leveled in a sense of expertise? Like I am at a point in my career where I could be a professor and teach communications and journalism. How many of y'all could be experts or adjuncts or professors in your respective fields? Not saying that you technically would do them, but like I think about like some of the people in my life, like who's been in the game for a minute, like a Patty Jackson. Like Patty Jackson can be a provost of broadcasting, her 40 years of experience. I think about my friend Chris Bartlett, who's been a nonprofit for a while. Like he could teach nonprofit to somebody or be in that field. It's just a lot of people that I just feel like, even my friend, my homegirl, some of my friends, like, Nina and Sam, they've been in music, they've done real vocals, they could talk about it, they could teach a vocal class. Like, how many people out here in this city council race, I'm looking at some of them like, you ain't been in the game. You haven't really been committed to anything. Some people have, but some people haven't. So I'm really looking at some of these people like, I'm not about to just hire right? We voted for. I'm just going to vote in somebody that's just talking a bunch of stuff about picking up. Let me be respectful. About to walk myself into that. But all I'm going to say is that there's some people out here who just might need to. And let me just say this real quick. I think it's funny because I don't really feel like a lot of the people running are running to actually win. I think some of these people are running to gain visibility and traction for other things. Like you're running so that you can, build your profile, get more followers, get more people to know about you, to stay in the public conversation, bored, don't have anybody to tell you got the race, don't have no real friends, people that explain to you, people that's making money off your campaign, even though they really can't help you win. It's a lot of reasons and factors that shape why people are in these races. And I don't think it has anything to do with it. I know one candidate, 4 years ago who, when I looked at their campaign finance sheet, it was like nothing but a bunch of eating at restaurants. And they were at a lot of places eating. And I was just like, people gave you money to your campaign and that's all you're doing is eating at places and traveling. And what I realized was that person, like being a candidate was like their job. They didn't really have a real job. It wasn't working. So they kind of used the campaign as a way to fund, their livelihood in some type of way that they was able to turn into quote unquote campaign work. Very telling, very telling. So I just, you're running for office, your political office, like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Just, that's corny to me. Something that really weird happened was Senator Vincent Hughes. Remember we talked about how he was running. That's Sheryl Lee Ralph's husband, the actress, the Emmy-winning actress, the Critics' Choice Award winner recently. He did something really bizarre, which some of y'all saw. But he made a announcement video that he was not running. He did a non-announcement video. And we're going to get into why that was weird as hell, as you can imagine, because you're like, huh? But let me just tell you how the rollout was even more cringy and awkward. So I got an email early this week, last week or whatever, and they were like, "Look, Vincent Hughes has an announcement to make about his mayoral run, or his what his decision is." And everything about it, I should have known he wasn't running, but because if he was running, the chase would have been there. So he has this video link his team does on Twitter. So I'm looking at this video clip. I forgot how short it was, but it's this video clip, and he's doing this long talk about, Philadelphia needs change makers and all this other stuff. He was saying a bunch of stuff. And then it gets to the point where he's like, but when I think about my work at Harrisburg, and it cuts. And so I'm like, wait, what does that mean? Are you dropping out? What are you doing? And it just cuts because whoever uploaded the video, there was a time. You know how Twitter doesn't, sometimes Twitter runs maximum, but sometimes it runs shorter. But I was just like, yo, talk about a damn cliffhanger. Left me in suspense. So I responded back to whoever the spokesperson was, like, listen, my time is too valuable for these games. I tagged Shirley Ralph. I was like, what's your husband doing? What's going on? And then I went on Instagram, they shared the full video, and he basically announced that he'd rather be, he needs to be in Harrisburg working to help the Democrats and the budgets and all that, because he's appropriation chair. Well, I said that already, and smart move, Vincent. At the end of the day, I think he should have ran. If he was going to run, it would have been nice, but he should have did so, in November when he knew that the Senate didn't have the majority in the PA Senate. But, he did the polls and all this other stuff. And let's get into these don't want to wait for that. We're going to wait for that because we got a special talker that we're going to talk about. But, I just really was just shocked by just the whole rollout. Like, who does a non-announcement? All you could have just simply said is, I'm not running. But like a whole video, and you got recent footage, you had protests. I was just like, what are you doing? Like, who does a video announcing not running? Like, I don't know. Like, none of them do a whole video. He just like, look, I'm not doing it. And that was it. But, trauma. Thespians. But, there's a lot of acting in his parts. No shade. There's a lot of drama over there. A lot of theatrics over there. A lot of energy. A lot of over projection. Enunciation of words. And, let me shut up. So yeah, I think, it's a good decision that he made. And I like Vincent Hughes. Let me be clear. All clarity. I like him. He is my state senator. I'm in West Philly, baby. And he's my state senator, and he's a great state. I think he's a good state senator. I think he's a great state senator, and I'm happy he's representing us, and I think we can't lose all these people to this stupid mayor's race. I mean, 11 people are running, for crying out loud. Let me see if I know all of them off the top of my head. Amin Brown, Jeff Brown, get the Browns out the way. Helen Gim, Rebecca Reinhardt, Maria Canela Sanchez, Derek Green, Alan Dom. I'm getting tripped up. Mike Stack, Corny. James DeLeon. Warren Bloom. Derek Green. That's 11. That's all 11. That's a lot of people. But yeah, that's what we got right now. And I think we got 5 city council people. Oh shit, Sherelle Parker. That was the other one, Sherelle. So it's 11. I already said Derek Green. Sherelle Parker. That's what it was. How can I finish get Sherelle? Sherelle, Maria, Alan Dom, Derek Green, Maria. 5 city council people are running. That's a lot. So So at least I know them at the top of my head. 11. It's a lot to keep up with. But hopefully after March, when these petitions go out, I'll have less people remember. But goddamn, it's a lot of people. So yeah, I just think that him being candidate number 12 wasn't going to help anything, to be honest. So let me just, before I start, let me start with the lower brown before I get to the bigger brown. It seemed like this week, and based on the media, there's a lot of controversy around the Browns running. Almond Brown and Jeff Brown. Both of the Browns are running, of course, for mayor. And it's a lot, and they're not related clearly because one is white, one is black. But it seemed like they're the ones hot and neat. It's like it seemed like everybody don't want a Brown for mayor. Um, so Alvin Brown got in the news. The Inquirer did this story about him, talking about his past, his records, his previous uh, criminal, incidents. Of course, he said he's never been criminally convicted of a crime, which is true. But he's had some run-ins with the law in a way, I guess. So he talked about that. I mean, some of the stuff was already regurgitated stuff, but it didn't seem like that story really took off or got as much traction because it seems like the person that was getting the most attention this week is Jeff Brown. I will say that first, I did two big stories on Jeff Brown this week that were necessary. And honestly, two things can be true at the same time. I think people forget that. I think that Jeff Brown is a person who's done some really good things. I can't take that from him. That's true. I think Jeff Brown, has done some work, right? He, spoke about the soda tax, spoke out against the soda tax. I wasn't a fan of soda tax myself. I mean, he was on a business reason. I personally thought it was regressive. I think him closing down the stores and neighborhoods and food deserts and blaming the soda tax was highly politicized, and I also thought was a little bit like, okay, you really close. It's like you took this out the food. I don't know. I think he played too many political tricks with that. I think that's going to bite him in the ass eventually. Because I just feel like he just played politics when that happened. I didn't like that. Okay, you could be against the soda tax, but like there was just a lot of this. I don't know, the way he went about some of his politics was just questionable to me. But again, I say all this to say that I think at his heart, he does care about people. I think he does, he has done some great things when it comes to giving people second chances in the system. Y'all already know that when I start giving people all these compliments, I'm about to go the fuck in. So I'm trying to put the full disclaimer, putting in the things so I can get that out there so people can say, oh, you didn't say, I'm putting it out there. He helped recidivism, reducing the recidivism rate. He helped give people who went through the system second chances and second time jobs. He has been really invested in that level work at his stores, and he has given some entrepreneurs, some interesting, colorful entrepreneurs, some opportunities as well in spaces that probably wouldn't get for their products. So there are some admirable things there, and I'm never, two things to be true. You could say a person has some good traits about them, some good character traits, but then you can also say the reality that, this person should not be a mayor. I don't think that Jeff Brown should be the mayor of Philadelphia. I think that Jeff Brown lacks the political experience. He's never held a political office. He's never, been in this type of role. I think that he's limited in his actual exposure to work, right? Yes, you're the CEO. You've inherited some money and wealth and support, and you've ran a family business successfully. That's great. But I think where Philadelphia is right now, I don't know if a businessman that type of way is the answer that we need for all of the things, because I feel like Jeff has lacked cultural competency, as I will get into the rest of the things that has been problematic to me. But specifically, I think that overall, two things can be good right at the same time. You can admire some of the good things this man has done, but you could also say in the same breath, just because you've done that does not mean you should be mayor. And I just feel like too often the vapid, narrow-minded dialogue and rhetoric by some of his supporters, even some of the black clergy, has made me cringe, because I'm just like, you're in a race with 10 other people. You're in a race with black women, black and brown women and men qualified with degrees, political experience, professional experience. And you mean to tell me that the white man that has had no political qualifications or experience is more qualified to take this job? I just kind of feel like that's problematic, and that just doesn't sit well with me. You got women, all of the women running in this race has more political experience than Jeff Brown. Why is this man feeling like he is entitled? Well, I would say all the black men, but that's not true, right? Because Warren Bloom, what the fuck has he done? So let me be very clear. I don't think Warren Bloom should be, mayor of Philadelphia. It's not a white thing, black. Warren Bloom does not have the political experience. I personally would not support a mayoral candidate that lacks political experience. So I'm not, people are like, what are you endorsing? I just think it's clear that I think his role in this is just not there, personally. So now that that's gotten out the way, there are some fundamental problems with Jeff Brown's campaign. Jeff Brown is running pretty much as a white savior. I've heard people, black people, some call him a great white hope. That's the same thing they said about Mayor Kinney. Great white hopes will always find their shadow and they will always find their wall. And you can only go so far with someone that's the great white hope in a situation. And I just feel like for all the years I've been covering politics, Kinney had his moments, but the shit that Jeff Brown's campaign has been doing in the last couple of weeks has been some of the most cringiest, problematic, racially toned campaigning I have seen locally in my entire political career covering this shit. I've never seen anything like this stuff before, not in Philadelphia. So let's talk about the first thing. The first thing was the ad that he's now taken off his social media. Well, let me clarify. He doesn't consider the ad. It's campaign material, campaign video that he was running on his Instagram account, his official Instagram account. Now, I wrote an article about this for Philly Mag, an op-ed. And, this is not becoming of a mayoral candidate, in my opinion. I just don't think that his latest ad or his video isn't what we should hope for in a mayoral candidate. And I said this in this piece. So let me go over this. So last weekend, Jeff Brown had put out a new campaign ad or campaign material on his social media and basically had him in a neighborhood with black Philadelphians, right? Now, this clip was like 1 minute. It's like a love letter to Philadelphia, he frames it. And Brown is being compared to Big Mama, and God. And he's hugging a younger black man, and you can hear a soulful church hymn sung by this elderly black woman. This ad is cringy. I think I want to play it for you all on this podcast. Let me see. Let me play it for y'all.
In our communities, we have people called grandmoms. We call them big mom, where they can give you a hug or give you a meal. And that's the kind of energy that Mr. Brown gives off. Show us your stuff. Come on, come right up. And with pain comes purpose. And with tragedy comes triumph. I've lost my mother. I lost my father. My brother was shot and killed. My best friend was shot and killed. But one thing about God is he's always going to have your back no matter how hard it gets. And so will Mr. Brown. I think of being a like image. Because one thing about the Bible, it says that we're all like images of him. And so are you. And God is love. And you're love. And I thank you for that. Now say, this ain't that. This ain't that. I love you too. And I feel like Mr. Brown really genuinely cares. And if there's anybody that I know who will be a great mayor for the city of Philadelphia, where the gun violence will stop, where the love will enhance, and the motivation will skyrocket, it's Jeff Brown bringing joy to the lives of the people we serve. I love you guys. This ain't that, and that ain't this. We love you, Mr. Brown.
When you see me walking right, when you see me talking right, I said, whoa, 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 he's using me.
Yes. A moment of silence. Now, if you thought the audio to that was cringy, if you saw the video, you would have passed out. The video is on my page. Jeff Brown removed the ad off his Instagram, but I'm going to screen grab. So I had already screen grabbed the ad and I shared it on my Twitter and I embedded it in my story because receipts matter. And thousands of people have seen that. And there was a lot of backlash and outrage. There's some things you all should know about the video that came, because I did reach out to Jeff Brown's camp, and there's some things I know about some of it. The young man in that video is a former employee of Jeff Brown. He worked at ShopRite for 2 years, apparently, and this was a while back. He was not compensated for his participation in that video that came from Jeff Brown's camp. I reached out to a spokesperson. That's what they told me. Even more disheartening is that the woman in that video is a woman, a black woman, the one who was singing. She's an elderly black woman who a lot of people know in West Philly. Like, she is at the Parkside ShopRite, Brown ShopRite store. She's been there a lot outside the store, begging for food and money. She seems to be a little unwell, as described by some people. She's clearly have struggled. It appears that she is destitute. And she has garnered a reputation of being outside that store asking for, food and money, and she begs outside of his store. And I recognized her because years ago, I went to the ShopRite and I seen her recently. And I was like, this woman looks familiar, y'all. Like, other people have also identified this woman as well. The guy I want to bring back to the young black man. He is a social media influencer in Philadelphia. He has close to 10,000 followers on Instagram. He goes by Philly's Motivation. I think they called him, and they named him in one of the stories, they named him Dana. I think his name is Dana. Based on what the spokesperson had told me from Jeff Brown's camp. But, you're using... there's just something disingenuous about this. Your former employee, which is not disclosed in the story, is talking you up and bigging you up in a way that looks like he's just a neighborhood brother, like he's just some guy out here, but he used to work for you. And, I could be messy and delve into more things that I heard about that individual working there and why he left. Because those receipts have also been brought to my desk. But out of respect for the parties involved, that's going to be tabled for now. I think that the more important aspect is that this was a very disingenuous video on so many levels. And I think it was very exploitative that Jeff would use a woman who definitely is clearly dealing with some mental health and self-care issues, that definitely has a history of standing outside his store begging for food and resources. And I don't know what he has done to help her, but for you to use this woman in this type of vulnerable situation to sing you a song like that, that is highly problematic and definitely not becoming of any mayoral candidate. I think it is damaging. I think that it is highly inappropriate. I think that this is very toxic. I think this sets a bad precedent. And I think that any voter, black, white, or whatever you identify as, should really reconsider what this man will do if he is serving in a political seat. Because if black people are used as that type of tool for a fucking campaign, I don't know what we're going to do with a Mayor Jeff Brown, let me be clear, in that position. I am completely disgusted. It is very offensive. And people who watch it, I encourage you to really look at how that video was positioned and how it was used. It is unfortunate. I really, it's sad that this young black man who clearly, means well. I don't think there was any ill intention on his part, if his name is Dana, right? But I do feel disappointed that he was used in this way, unpaid, to do this work. His blackness, his identity was exploited, in my opinion, in that video to get a certain point. And that black woman, that elderly black woman who is who's vulnerable, used in that way. That's disgusting. And I think we cannot buy what people say, but what people do. And what he did, his team did, none of that was okay. And even worse, you can see Dana, the young man in the video, filming this woman singing at Jeff. And it's just like, Jeff, you literally brought these people together who clearly have two different types of experiences. One is a former employee, one is someone who's not in the complete, full emotional, mental, capacity. These people were exploited in this way to present a false narrative about your relationship with Black people in this way. It just wasn't okay. He took that ad down, but the damage has been done. And there are many people who can see it, and he should address it. He should actually directly apologize. I think he should apologize for that video. I think he should make it very clear and be transparent about the nature of it. But it is very intellectually dishonest and disingenuous. You would think at this point of the story, you would think that, oh, you know what? This is it, right? He did that. Wow, right? Oh no, it gets worse. So I did some work to get into a lot of the conversations. I was hearing about this Michelle Obama story, about these ads. So Michelle Obama was in two sets of ads. She was in the ad that Jeff Brown ran, and then she was also in an ad that a PAC that supports Jeff Brown had added. But we're going to talk about that PAC in a minute and some other concerning things that come with it. See, this is why I love my podcast, Ernestly Speaking. I got to do a shameless plug because we get the time to really unpack the shit that we see, right? Sometimes you get articles only have so many words, right? Word count is limited. Sometimes you can't say everything the way you want to say it, but this is a chance for me in my own words to break down the facts and what's been going on. So there was two ads, right? There's a group, a PAC called A Better Philadelphia PAC, which PAC stands for Political Action Committee. Now, they ran an ad on TV. That was the first major TV commercial of the 2023 primary campaign, which featured Michelle Obama. But there was also these ads that were paid for, quote unquote, by Jeff Brown. And these were ads that also include Michelle Obama. And he ran that on his social media. Okay. So there was two different types of ads. So let me be clear about this. Let me talk about both of these acts. And there's a reason why these both matter, right? Jeff Brown for mayor is his campaign. And then there's also this A Better Philadelphia PAC, which is separate from him. But there are some concerns, and I'm going to get to what I mean by that. So this ad that he was running was really pushing conversation around Michelle Obama. She apparently praised him years ago for his work on, putting his grocery stores in food deserts, which is admirable. But at the end of the day, this man put his grocery stores in vulnerable Black populations and made a profit. He made a profit in the hood. He was so popular at one point that when his store got vandalized during the racial uprisings, he had so much support from Black folks. Them people came out there and sweeped up and helped clean up his store. I don't know any white people. I don't know anybody that got that much pull with some Black folks in the community where the store could get trash and they will come up and clean up the trash for him. So that happened. But I say this to say that he was getting a lot of respect. So Michelle Obama, when she was in office, when she was the first lady, was singing his praises about what he was doing in the city at the time. It was really, singing his praises in a good way. And he used clippings of that, aggressively, pictures of him and Obama, and those pictures ran through his ads. So there was this sense from some people that they implied that this was given off an endorsement. And media literacy is important. So no, Michelle Obama did not directly and verbally say she endorsed him for mayor. But the over-the-top redundant images and clips of Michelle specifically talking to him was another attempt yet again to appeal to Black voters in a way that was targeted. If you look at that ad, which you can find somewhere, in the articles I've written, you can see that Michelle Obama is a Black woman. He's in the video hugging on Black people only. It's very targeted towards Black people. And, the Obamas, to the majority of the Black community, are like the saints of our modern day era. You can't say anything bad about Obama without Black folks being like, wait a minute. Now, we might be critical amongst ourselves, but we ain't gonna let people in public just walk around talking crazy about Obama without people checking them. So he knew and strategic, and this is good strategy, right? Having appraisal of Obama's is a pretty big damn deal. But how he used it and what it was giving out is where the problems begin to build. So in an exclusive, okay, a first time scoop, I was the first to report this. I did an exclusive for the Daily Beast, that freshman, you know what I'm saying, that thing. What ended up happening in that situation was that I reached out to the office of Michelle Obama. And I asked them specifically about the nature of this ad. Did they know about it? Were they involved in it? And pretty much they kept it very short and simple with me. And they said, Mrs. Obama, let me quote, Mrs. Obama doesn't typically endorse in primaries and isn't supporting a candidate in this race. That's what the spokesperson told me. There's no endorsement. And she isn't supporting a candidate in this race. And she typically does not endorse in primaries. And then I heard from sources involved with these campaigns, or this campaign, Just Campaign, that in fact, they didn't even want the ad. And so I asked the Jeff Brown campaign, the team, the spokesperson, like their spokesperson, well, what happened here with this ad? And they basically said that, according to them, that this ad has not been running since the MLK weekend, basically because it completed a cycle. The ad, they said they ran the ad for a period of time, and that, after MLK weekend, they was like, look, we done ran it so many times, we on to some new stuff. That was the impression. The problem is that Mrs. Obama's camp came and got in touch with them on the Friday the 13th, which is, my homegirl's Amanda's birthday. January 13th, they reached out to them before the weekend. And basically, the Jeff Brown camp said they got a call about the ad and said that they weren't told to take it down, but it can be implied. Okay. So it just coincidentally seems, based upon them, that when Michelle Obama said, or her camp, let me clarify, not Michelle herself, but when her camp raised issues or concerns about the ad, they decided to take it down. But it wasn't because they were told to or because of them. They were already planning to. So it just so happened at the same time the complaint was made, the ads were going down at the same time. Yeah, I'm going to call bullshit on that. I don't believe that personally. I don't believe that. Common sense won't allow me to believe that. I just think that's so much of a coincidence. I just feel like they're trying to cover their ass, because for them to say that they were asked to take down the ad, or that they took down the ad because they were called, it then weakens the position, right? So now the defense is, oh, we did this because, but we all know, like, I don't know. I don't believe that personally. That's my opinion. I didn't report that, but I don't believe that's true. I believe that, to be honest, when you spent $92,000, or I'm sorry, the PAC or whoever paid $92,000 for those ads, or the money being spent on this stuff, I mean, if you got a Michelle Obama ad like that, like, I feel like that would be the smoking gun, but I digress, right? But I say all this to say that it's too many interesting things happening. In a race that is this qualified, right, this competitive, I just don't know. I mean, I could see Jeff staying in the race, but I just don't think it is going to be better. I think there's too many gaffes happening, just so many bad decisions making, and it's just sad to see someone go down in this way, or just even deal with this, right? So here's another issue that came up. Again, because when it rains, it pours in these ways. This weekend, Chris Brennan at the Philadelphia Inquirer, Clout, ran a story, in Clout, in their column, that was saying, quote, early ads impact in mayor's race. So in this story, I'm quoting him. He says, this is reported in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Quote, a poll of 607 likely Democratic voters in a May primary for mayor conducted last week and obtained by Clout suggests an early round of ads aired by the Independent Political Action Committee for a Better Philadelphia, backing Jeff Brown and featuring Michelle Obama, had an impact. Brown, who was the first choice of 5 of the people surveyed in a similar poll conducted in September, jumped to 20% this month, a best showing for 7 candidates sampled. Former city council member Helen Gim, who had been at 19% in September, slipped into second place at 15% this month. Former city council member Alan Dom didn't move much despite his own television ads, with 13% in September and 12% this month. The other candidates in the poll, Cheryl Parker, Rebecca Reinhart, Maria Canela Sanchez, and Derek Green, did not crack double digits in the poll by FM3 Research. The poll did not ask about 2 other candidates, State Rep Armin Brown or retired Judge James DeLeon. So, what I'm getting and hearing from this is that there's something sketchy about this poll based on who paid for the poll. And it's being not disclaimed that apparently for a Better Philadelphia, allegedly seems to be the ones who funded this poll. And these are the same people that pushed the Jeff Brown, Michelle Obama ads, which I'm kind of like, okay, if this PAC funded this poll, I mean, they also funded, the ads. All right, is it skewed? I mean, that would be my take. Like, is it skewed that supporters of Jeff Brown was behind this poll? And this reminds me of the other poll that Vincent Hughes did, right? Where Vincent Hughes' poll asked about candidates, but specifically asked about him in these conversations. And almost there's bias in that. And so I don't trust this poll. I think this poll is just trying to build a fake hype. I'm not saying that Jeff Brown, doesn't have support. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't think these polls at like 20% of Helen's 5 and then Alan Dom's 3rd. I'm just like, okay, sure. I don't know. I'm just very skeptical about the way that poll is being done. And I think that it's meant to create potential misinformation. I think there's some misinformation or skewed data, but I don't, always check the source and the origin of something. But that didn't really sit well with me. Again, if I was in Jeff Brown's position, I just personally feel like there's just other things to do. You have a business to run, go back to doing that. But I just feel like we see this all the time where white people do one good thing or a couple of good things, and they think that the moment they do one good thing, they got to be president of the United States. They got to be, it's like, I mean, the audacity of white people, the audacity of white men in power is like they do a couple of good things and they ready to capitalize off of it in a way that is just cringy. Like, you can never just see people just do naturally good things. It's always transactional. And then it just feels like all of this is him trying to capitalize off of the good deeds he's done in a way that I feel like is just very disingenuous. And that's why I personally can't support him or be behind his campaign, to be honest, personally. So that's that. So the Union League. Another thing I had to process. There was a protest outside the Union League and a press conference this week. Ron DeSantis, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, made an appearance at the Union League, getting honored with the Abraham Lincoln Award, which is cringy as fuck. Bad award, bad optics, bad situation. But to be clear, Union League has had an ongoing relationship of being discriminatory and problematic. They've had a reputation that is been documented. There's been people that have compared them to Confederate flags and racism and, not including diverse people. I mean, they just have a very storied history and reputation that precedes them. And so when I heard that there was this, campaign or sorts of this debate and it's clashing around, the fact that Ron DeSantis was getting this award, there was Union League members, some of them that are black, that wanted to lead this activism. They were like, oh, fist up, fight against anti-blackness and this, that, that. I was like, okay, so now y'all know what anti-blackness is? You guys are now trying to hijack the swagger of actual organizers and real legitimate protesters who was speaking about anti-blackness in, I don't know, the police department. And none of y'all showed up for that, or in the medical space, or in other institutions, or in our public schools. No, not the same energy for most of those people. Some of them did, but not all of them. But what I'm saying is that it's funny that this is when y'all want to speak against anti-blackness. A private club that is members only, that's been around forever, that has a racist history, and you all are trying so hard to try to ask them to not have Ron DeSantis there. And it's like, are you surprised? Like, y'all know what the Union League is. I knew what the Union League was for years. And I knew black people at the Union League that used to have me come over for lunch and things. But I always knew the history. I always knew that that was a very elite space. And that space was very not so inclusive for black and brown people. I know that. I know my history. And to see people still trying to be pressed to get in that room and be in that space like that, it's just like, first of all, someone's been there a couple of times. It ain't all that, I mean, the architecture is compelling. It's the way it's made is fascinating. But just like this need to be in there and to be in that space, it's cringy. And there's other social clubs and places to be a part of, that you can do. You don't have to be a part of that in order to feel like you're somebody. But you can't tell these people anything. So they held this protest. They held these things. And for me, the biggest takeaway is, so what now? Are you going to cancel your memberships? Now, Sharon Vaughn, since city council member Sharon Vaughn, came with that smoke. Came with that smoke. And I can appreciate her for talking about that. But I also want to add, too, because I almost left on that, but I'm going to bring it back in a minute because I just remembered something. Because I'm going to try to bring it all back full circle. But a lot of the conversations and the issues that I think that's interesting about politicians and the flip-flopping is that they all stood there and was making these demands and saying this stuff. But I'm just like, so you know what anti-blackness is. You know how to mobilize people around an issue for publicity. And I kind of feel like the Democrats, they only want to get into racism conversations and talk about these things when it involves Republicans. But what about everyone else that do this shit? Like, what about your fellow constituents, your other leaders and deals that do these things that are also racist and problematic, and they call themselves Democrats, right? What about them? And I just think that it's a tit for tat, and it's just really flip-floppy and just hypocritical that there's always like okay, if Trump is here, then that's when I speak out about racism. So y'all gotta wait for Trump or his supporters to say racist shit and do racist shit before a lot of y'all share. It's like they all gotta be one way or the other, and it's just like passive. And then for black men like me, I just feel like any of the racist things that happen to me, is it going to be that same energy? They only care about the issues when it's themselves. And this is a lot of black capitalists that are like this, like aggressive black capitalists that are like, oh, it's not until my store or when my product or when my thing is getting faced with controversy, then that's when I want everyone to mobilize around me. But where are you all in these communities any other time? When are y'all engaging these same people y'all expect favors from? There's a lot of people that have come to me in the past couple of weeks for something about their situations. And I've had to guard my joy and protect my peace. Sometimes I can't weigh in on everything and speak on everything. Sometimes I don't have the capacity. I'm a human. I don't have the capacity and the mindset and the space to just address every single issue. But I'm also being a little bit more judicious and recognizing like, wow, this person only talks to me when they want something. This person only reaches out to community activists when they need a look or a TV appearance. So I just found all of this shit to be fake. And the Union League stuff, I'm just like, man, we already knew the Union League was racist. We did not need for Ron DeSantis to come. But how politically convenient was it for them to use this moment to politicize? And now the question becomes, what are y'all going to do next? Like, how are y'all going to hold them accountable? Or is this just more and more, promises and chit chat and all this stuff. It's just, yeah. A lot of people was out there, and a lot of these people were, city council hopefuls trying to politicize this shit for their own personal gain to get a photo shoot. Like, I'm not in that business. So, yeah. But I also want to go back to something with Jeff Brown, and I just thought about it in this conversation around flip-flopping. And this is when I think also Jeff Brown really crossed the line, in my opinion. There was a story reported in the Philadelphia Inquirer earlier this week talking about the history of how Jeff Brown in this current race has been telling white voters one thing and black voters a different thing about, public safety and criminal justice. So when he's around black people, he talks about criminal justice reform and second chances and this, that, and the third and yada, yada, yada. But then when he's in white areas, right, in the Northeast and other areas around mostly white male voters and whatnot, he's out here trashing, throwing shots at Larry Krasner, and then also throwing shots at progressive bills that's come about. So Councilmember Isaiah Thomas passed a really big milestone bill called, the driving quality bill. And this bill was addressed, traffic stops and public stops. He would argue that, Tyre Nichols with this bill, he may have not died if he was dealing with police under this type of policy or whatever. Who knows? It's all relative. We'll figure it out. But what I will say is that for Jeff Brown to entertain the thought of repealing it or trashing it in these different spaces, like, that was also offensive to me, because it's like, okay, this one black man created this really progressive bill to address this, and you're telling folks one thing, but then you're smiling in his face another. And I just think it's a lot of half-assedness for me, because it's like, you didn't even call him and discuss his legislation. You just sat up and trashed it. And the thing is, you ain't never crafted a piece of legislation like he has in your career. And so how is you, as a white man running for office, coming at the policy decisions of another black man that's a part of it? It's just, yeah. It's just a lot. And I think people need to take a step back, because you have no experience. Like, he has no actual experience creating policy. But the first piece of legislation you're attacking is by another black man that, if your mayor would work under you, if he's reelected, he's an incumbent. I just don't understand. And I don't understand why you're saying one thing to white voters in the Northeast, but you're saying another thing to black voters, in the North. Like, your whole messaging is flip-flopping. You got caught. Because journalists go to all these forums and events. Like, hell, I'm not everything, but there's people there, and they're recording things, and they're taking notes. You are saying these things. You are flip-flopping on positions. And you can't play this game with black voters and black people, because how you're flip-flopping on these issues, like, that's a problem. That's a complete problem. And I just think that we need to take some time as voters to really evaluate the intentions that's happening here, because we're in a space where this race is too crowded and too serious for anybody like that. Like, who are you, Jeff Brown, to be talking about someone else's policies, especially a policy that don't impact you directly? Because are you out here getting stopped and frisked? Are you, as a white man, the target? It's just very fucked up. And he really owes, he really, really owes Isaiah Thomas an apology. Isaiah issued a statement on social media, pushing back against some of Jeff Brown's remarks. Derek Green also, chimed in, who's running for mayor, about, as another black man running, in office, or was in office, whatever, weighing in on this too. And it just seems like, if I was in Jeff Brown's camp, I would be doing a lot of reflection, a lot of, checking of it. But, like, this ain't it. And this ain't that. More famously said by someone else. But, that's where we are. So, on to some national things. My story for the Daily Beast was national. You can check it out if you want to read more about what happened with Michelle Obama and everything else. It's called White Grocery Tycoon's Mayoral Campaign Has Ticked Off Michelle Obama and Black Philadelphians. Big story. Another national outlets have picked it up. Raw Story, Mediaite, which I love. A couple other places have, are starting to talk about it. So we'll see what will happen and how Jeff will respond in the future. So I want to talk about this interesting story. I've been following this drama for a minute, but it's been hot. So there's a man out here named David Cunningham, but his real name is Devon Tinson. And it's a lot. It's really, ooh, child. Y'all probably have heard about this. So David Cunningham, he's a black gay man, tried to broke into an Inglewood, California house as a squatter, changed the locks on the property, and even created a fraudulent lease to give to the police. Now, there is a woman who I've been following. You probably remember her name, Jasmine Canick, who is based in Los Angeles. She's an activist and she's a reporter. And, she basically reports on some stuff, and she does a lot of great groundbreaking work. So one of the things you might remember about her, because I remember talking about Jasmine Canick on this show, is that she basically did a lot of that early reporting on Ed Buck. Now, Ed Buck was that rich LA, West Hollywood, white donor, old white male donor who gave money to Hillary Clinton and other liberals. And he had a reputation of doing party and play, having black men, specifically black and brown men, traditionally younger ones at times, come to his house for drugs and sex. And there was some massive overdoses and deaths, I think at least of 2 black men who died in his house under custody. And the police would just simply come in and take these men out. And Ed Buck wasn't criminally charged at the time for any of this stuff. Now, he has been now. But that was because of Jasmine Canick and the activism she done as a black woman, like mobilizing and organizing and getting the community, the LGBTQ community and activists and queer folks to really push against this very powerful, rich, white gay man. And now he's behind bars because of her work and how she raised awareness. However, this is not the only thing that she was covering. Apparently, for several years, she was covering this David Cunningham dude. So she says that allegedly, when the homeowners returned to that vacation, the police said that they had to settle the dispute in court until neighbors had stepped in and helped present previous articles about, David Cunningham's other illegal shenanigans. And as a result of that, the police placed him under arrest and arrested him. And the crazy part was he was out here basically scamming, apparently, and being bold and stupid. And he has, since been released and has said, he's innocent until proven guilty. But a lot of tea is coming out about him. He seems to have gone through some trauma. I've watched some of his Instagram live videos. And now he's talking about various things to try to cover his name and clear his name. But even messier and interesting, I saw him watching an episode of Bad Boys Los Angeles. There were auditions. Y'all remember Bad Boys, I think it was Bad Boys Houston. There was Bad Boy Houston auditions, but he was there auditioning for the show. And this is on Zeus, of course. And so, of course, Zeus came helpful. He was in that video, in this clip. And while he was auditioning, there was one of the guys, the judges who did not like him, and basically threw off on him and was fighting him. It was very violent. I was like, wow, this man is whatever. Now, I follow him on Facebook. He followed me many years ago. And I unfollowed him since everything has went down. But at the time I followed him, and I just noticed that he was always in some shit. He had ran for office for various roles he was interested in, but it just seemed like something was off. And you could tell a con artist sometimes. You can tell by the way they talk and how they act and everything. But something about him just felt like, I never heard of you before. What are you up to? What are you doing? It just did not feel legit. Something was off. But But now we're going to see. We're going to see, how people are going to respond to this controversy. But it's not looking good. It's been very telling across the board what he's going to do next and how he's going to show up and all of those different things. So I find this entire situation to just be very awkward, in my opinion. I just find it to be awkward. So I think overall, just stop being a scammer. Like, why is there so many scammers? I think that's the moral of the story for me. Just like stop being a scammer. Seriously. But speaking of other issues, so I don't know if people have been following this. This is like super in depth, but I think it's dope for those nerds. Nate Silver, if you've been following him, there has been a lot of talks that ABC is considering offloading 538. That's been said by the Daily Beast. They report on this, that apparently it hasn't been making that much money, but also there just seems to be a move for Disney, ABC News to make cuts. Apparently he has been, trying to reportedly, has been trying to sell 538, which is the political polling. This is a polling site that was, once an industry darling. People used to really like it. And now it's been kind of in some messiness, Nate Silver had put this, he's a white guy. He had launched this back in 2008, and then he signed a licensing deal with the New York Times in 2010. Then he joined ESPN in 2013. Then when Disney, the site changed hands with the Walt Disney Company when it went to ABC News in 2018. So it's been moved around a little bit. And apparently they're going to try to cut costs. That's what they're saying ABC News is trying to do. It's been interesting because, he's been talking about trying to sell it with the Atlantic, speaking with the Atlantic and the Athletic back in 2017. But there's also been no imminent decisions, ABC told the Daily Beast, but people think it's interesting. So one of the biggest things is that the biggest criticism of him lately with his polls is that he was the one who predicted a red wave during the midterm elections. And as you all know, it was barely a red wave. It was barely a mirage. And that was what he had forecast. So it's almost like all these polls, it's like, dude, you ain't as tight as you used to be. I used to always be annoyed just with him, his whole presence personally. But one of the things that came out was that there's a black woman who used to work alongside him. And she said, she made some allegations that says, look, this man has often been really, problematic to black women, to people of color that has worked for him. And, she's spoken on Twitter in a very engaging Twitter thread that really spoke volumes. I was like, oh shit, this is a thing. Like, this is a really, this dude out here really fucking up. But I want to take some time to read it. So this woman, her name is Faria Chidea. She currently is the host of a really good podcast. Well, it's a public radio show podcast called Our Body Politic. You probably heard her. She's the creator host of Our Body Politic, which is about black women and all women of color and how they use their power for good. She's a big deal on Twitter. She got over 70,000 followers. But she really stepped up and really said some deep shit about a lot of the stuff that she was experiencing. And she said she had some wonderful friends at 538, but she said, quote, Nate Silver was a terrible boss, especially to women and people of color. Everyone should do a bit of data journalism on how long women lasted on average there, and that made the journalism worse. I believe her. She further goes on and says, and I'm quoting all this, I remember Nate was facing criticism from women on staff and scheduled what was supposed to be a sneak attack meeting on gender. I found out about it and told the women on staff and said if they had anything to say, they should think it through and say it. During the meeting, Nate said he was tired learning people quit with complaints and that if people had complaints, they should speak them out loud. I turned to two of the top editors and said, I told you 4 months ago I would quit if things didn't get better, right? Nate gobsmacked. He had no fucking idea who was saying what because he was a terrible manager and didn't listen. And then he blamed people for not saying anything. Create an environment of hierarchy and fear, and people don't tell you shit, even your deputies. It was like the, quote, no bad news song from The Wiz. And let me tell you what was really bad news. Working in a newsroom covering an election cycle, 2016, where both race and gender were weaponized to win the election, and having a boss who dismissed all relevance of race and gender on the meta-narrative. I would say, quote, don't know why people kept putting money into his money-losing failure of trend-spotting site, but it's pedagogy of white male nerds, kind of a Sam Bankman-Fried manqui. So Nate, if you're reading this, try harder and listen to people. You could have been part of the solution in 2016. You're part of the problem with American journalism, and now we're all paying the price, even you. Mic drop. She said it. She said it, not I. She kept it 100. That's real. So let me say who else is not real. And this is also somebody I want to talk about. And they've been on the podcast before in the past. But Emmanuel Acho, if I hear anything more about this man as far as promotion, anybody trying to elevate this man's career, I'm going to need y'all all to rethink this, reshuffle it, and go back to the drawing board. Emmanuel Acho is a former, I guess, NFL player, a football player. I don't really follow him that much. But I do know some of his bullshit and his antics because, he has gotten books published through Oprah's publisher, her book publishing company or whatnot. Love Oprah, but Emmanuel Acho, no, not at all. So he got famous because of this book called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. Well, the irony is that he couldn't have an uncomfortable conversation with a black man as a black man when him and Van Lathan got into it on a podcast. And it got ugly. So basically in this conversation, Van Lathan, who used to be at TMZ, of course, he's famously called out Kanye West for slavery was a choice back in the day when a lot of people were trying to still hold on to Kanye. And basically, this podcast called Higher Learning, includes him. And, Van Lathan said, he shared the clip. It was published, this podcast was on the Ringer. And Van Lathan said on Twitter, which he addressed it there, was like, I'm not sure what you intended to convey by stating your Nigerian background frees you of, quote, generational trauma and takes the, quote, sting out of your conversation with white people, but it feels like you're purposely othered yourself from the descendants of slaves. Why? Yes, in this conversation, okay, which is very interesting, is that Emmanuel Acho was having this conversation, he was getting challenged. And he basically he's been some guy who keeps, citing he's Nigerian and that, he's a different type of black person who can be palpable. I mean, these are the things he's implied in his rhetoric, and you can go back and listen to the stuff he said. But it's implied. And, this constant notation of, there's a lot of diaspora wars amongst black people. It's sad, like black Americans and Jamaicans and Haitians and Nigerians. And, it's always there are often these diasporical articles and, the things of people, and they try to, other. And I don't get in those conversations because at the end of the day, we all motherfucking black, okay? At the end of the day, we all face anti-blackness. At the end of the day, we're dealing with colonialism. We're dealing with slavery, the impacts of that on our entire identity. Whether you lived in a country that was enslaved or not enslaved, the impacts of slavery impacts all black people in a different way. And the racism and hate we experience do. And so there are some people in our community, in our diaspora, that will oftentimes try to act as though they're different in this way. They got this hubris about themselves. And honestly, that's bullshit. And it's rooted in anti-blackness. It's fucking problematic. And this idea of trying to present themselves as the model minority black of the community and trying to, talk down to black folks from the South, the black folks from the East. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, the people that do that, shut up. Because, number one, it's not true. Like, whatever Emmanuel Acho was trying to suggest, it's just not true. So, I'm going to let y'all hear what he said and what was said. But Van Lathan got him together. So, here you go.
Oh, when white people say, well, racism doesn't exist, I know why they say that. Because I've been in them rooms when they saying that. Mm-hmm. When I kick it with black people and they're like, all white people are racist. I know why you're saying that. All the while, I have the privilege and luxury of not having generational trauma because my parents were born in Nigeria. So, man, my method is removing some of the sting because I don't have that sting and trying to deliver a message in a manner that people can receive it.
Okay, let me tell you why what you just said offends me.
Okay.
All right. You saying that you don't have generational trauma, and you didn't mean it this way, but the reason, and it's, I have to name it, you saying that you don't have any generational trauma in some way meaning, or that in some way meaning that your delivery method to white people is going to be either more effective or more sanitized is, to me, dangerous. And let me tell you why. Everybody that you just named and what you're talking about does what they do in different ways. I don't think that any of the things that they do are necessarily harmful. But what I could say is a black man, a prominent one, acting as an emotional butler for white people and serving them the most milquetoast, unspicy, unseasoned brand of racial discourse and accountability possible could definitely be harmful. Like, we're fighting for our lives. And to me, having a conversation like that at that particular time, it's not that it's a different method. Everybody has a different method. It's that it's the wrong method. Is that it gives cover for...
Woo! Listen, he went in. Van Lathan went in. Everything that was said. The dragging. And so the Black Affinity Wars, the everybody from the diaspora came in and got Emmanuel Acho together. Because one thing what we not gonna do is do an oppression Olympics amongst ourselves about this shit. And he tried it. And he got dragged. And he tried to play those games. And at the end of the day, what he did was fucked up. Now he's on Twitter, making these claims that the entire conversation was a public setup. He says, your producers lured me into committing by misleading me about the topic of the conversation. You manipulated my relationship with Rachel, who's the co-host of the show, in order to publicly air your grievances as opposed to prepare me for productive dialogue. First of all, if you are an Emmy Award-winning New York Times bestseller who's pushed books on uncomfortable conversations on race, why do you need to be prepped for something like that? If you understand your work and it's a conversation about racism, if you think you're an expert at it, why would you need to have prep time and all that? What the fuck? Because you're a fraud. It's all cap. Because your whole image has always been to try to frame yourself as a different type of black person that can talk to white people. White people, when you meet black people that are willing to shit on black people aggressively to appeal to your interest and taste, that is not the kind of that's not an uncomfortable conversation. First of all, how is it an uncomfortable conversation with white people when you are literally placating to their interests and their feelings and sentiment? If you're not having tough conversations with black people that's giving it to you in a way that's real, raw, straight up and honest, aka people like me, you don't need to be having no conversation with these people because they're just going to tell you what they want so they can manipulate to give you money. Okay, they're gonna make you feel some little level, and they're grifting. There are scammers out here acting like they know stuff about racism. They have no critical racial thinking. They don't come from any framework. They don't know what critical race theory is. They don't know what intersectionality is. They don't read any scholarly context. They treat racial conversations like let me go in the shower and meditate on this and go to the barbershop and talk to my brothers about it. Like, they don't actually have a real fundamental basis to how they're discussing race. It's anecdotal, it's passive, it's whack. And you know what's even more funny is that, this is not the first time Emmanuel Acho has talked at the side of his mouth. Like, I'm dead ass that this guy wants to talk about how much of he's an expert on race. But literally, y'all, because I gotta bring my stuff together, it's cringy. It's cringy. The things he has said, the ways that he has tried to be palpable for white people and the performativeness of it all. And here's one interesting thing that's going to make you gag. I just want y'all to hear this and see it for yourself because it's wild.
Let's address all of them.
Isn't that interesting that you learned about black culture as an adult playing football? And is football, are in the world of football.
So this man, Emmanuel Acho, literally was on Jimmy Kimmel. That was him on Jimmy Kimmel. And he sat on national TV and basically said he did not know anything about foundational black American culture until he played football as an adult. Yeah, he's literally making a whole platform off of this shit. Okay, COINTELPRO is definitely working in mysterious ways. This guy is a fucking joke. And he's willing to take a check to do it, but like we see right through him. I don't need him or Van Jones on any platforms. Like, stop having him be present or talk about anything. For real. Like, we don't need this at all. So, not my cup of tea. Don't ask me about him. Not a fan. And Van Lathan, shout out to you for dragging him, me and him real close. I got to see him at NABJ convention in Vegas. We followed you on Twitter. He has a really great book talking about his life and weight and things. Dope stuff. Now, on to pop culture. So, Chloe is finally here. Chloe's back. Y'all know Chloe from Chloe and Haley. She finally got an album release date, y'all. She's coming in March. Pisces, Pieces. Look, the girl is back. Now, she just dropped a new single. And here's my thing with Chloe. As y'all know, like, Have Mercy was in my top 5 songs. I played apparently a lot on my, YouTube Music, because I don't do Google Play. I do Google, but I don't do Apple Music. I have an Apple phone for Android, but I listen to that song, Have Mercy, a lot. Here's the thing. All of her songs that's been coming out lately, Chloe, has had, been only 2 minutes and a couple of seconds. They're short. All of her songs are short. I'm just like, why is all these songs so damn short? Like, Chloe, where are the bridges? Where's the, don't make me walk, something, but a build up. No, Chloe just be, I be wanting more. So she got a song called Pray It Away. It's a cute little bop, but the songs are short. They're all under 3 minutes. All of them. Treat Me Like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Pray It Away is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Surprise is 250. For the Night, with Has Lotto, that was a real song. It was close to 4 minutes. But these other songs are just short as hell. Have Mercy, with the music video was 3, but a song itself is 2 minutes and something. But it's some short ass songs. And the visuals are short. And I'm just like, I know you're trying to do some TikTok stuff, but these gotta be come on, can we get some full-length songs? I feel like she's gonna drop 12 songs, and then it's gonna be, the album gonna be less than 30 minutes. It's gonna be between me getting out the shower and yeah, that's me in the shower. The whole album gonna play in the amount of time I'm in the shower. Cause I take I guess long showers. What is a long shower? I'm tall. I got some body. I got a scrub. I'm not in the shower less than 15 minutes. I need to be in the shower for at least 15 minutes or longer. It gotta be over 15. I've never been in the shower for under 15 minutes. Can't do it. Won't do it. Now, I ain't in the shower for 30 minutes. But if it's under 15, what you doing? Just saying. I don't know. I can't do a under 15-minute shower. But if you're small and petite, maybe you can get away with that. Maybe this is TMI. I just don't know. I just be I need to get, I don't know. But yeah, I was just surprised by that. But I'm happy her new album's coming out finally. There was a lot of stuff about the label and things. It was crazy. Y'all want me to talk about this? I'm going to talk about this a little bit. No, I'm going to hold off for that real quick. Let me talk about this too. Taylor Swift just dropped her new music video for Lavender Haze, which is the first song off her new album, or her grand spanking bombshell best-selling album, Midnights. Lavender Haze is a great song. Love it. Live for it. Love that song. Now, the video has been sparking some chatter because she has a love interest in the video, and it's not her man Joe, which is the actor Joe, not Joe Jonas. That's the other Joe she dated. But this video has a love interest. The man is a transgender male performer, artist who does, I believe, music and acting and different things, and she had him in the video as a love interest. And talk about a badass. I mean, anybody questioning Taylor's politics or her ability to be woke, I've never seen anything like this before. This is dope. And it wasn't even in the video they acknowledged she was trans, but other people found the identity, and the actor got on Twitter and, thanked her for including him in the video. And it was just beautiful. It was just a very beautiful, moment for the culture. So I loved it. I thought that was great. Their name is Laith Ashley De La Cruz. Um, and they're just a talented spirit and a talented artist. And they had, they're incredible trance artists. And so the fact that Taylor Swift had them in the video and gave that visibility in that way and normalized them in this cool way, like it was just dope. So I thought that was just a progressive move. Okay. So this whole Beyonce Dubai situation. Okay, Beyonce performed in Dubai like last week. Blue Ivy was there. She was opening up some hotel. Our favorite, toxic, problematic black capitalist, but incredible boss ass artist. Performing in this country. Now, I wrestle with this. Beyonce fans, everything like this, and everybody has different thoughts. I'm just gonna say different things, right? Because I feel different things at different times. Okay, so in one sense, I'm going to state the obvious first and then get into the rest. Beyonce, why? Like, Dubai has a history of homophobia. They have gay bans. She did not perform anything from Renaissance, which I'm super excited about because y'all know later this upcoming weekend is the Grammys, which we're going to talk a little bit about that, I guess. But like, so I was like, well, that makes sense because they're like not about to sit up and let people groove, right? She invited a lot of people, a lot of folks I recognize, famous people, popular journalists. They all went down there. They popping, okay? They saw her, had an experience of a lifetime. The performance was great. She looked good. Apparently, she had foot surgery, which made a lot of sense on why there were delays. So maybe that's why we hadn't seen the visuals. Who knows? But she performed. She killed it. She was great. That's fine. I just think, she got paid $35 million. That's a lot of fucking money. But you performed in a country that, don't really fuck with your core demographic. Your whole album Renaissance was about Uncle Johnny and about the queer culture and the community. And the people that inspired that album could not live their truth and be in that space. I mean, I get that it was smart that she didn't play that music because that would have been weird playing that music in an oppressive space. But just who she is as a gay icon is just, triggering. Now, a lot of fans called it hypocrisy. They said, well, look, Madonna went, all these other people went. But I want to be clear that what black people, good people, smart people, what we got to stop doing is trying, like we're talking out the side of our necks, right? And we just got to hold people accountable, rightfully so. Now, if you think that Beyonce is the greatest living entertainer of our generation right now, and she is the big star, then she should always set the example, not follow the example. If she's a leader, she's the lead. She can't follow. So if everybody else is going to Dubai, beyond, Elton John, they said he was there, which is interesting. Madonna, all these other people went, right? Then Beyonce is cutting edge. Beyonce shouldn't go. Beyonce doesn't need that $35 million. Beyonce's already fucking rich. Her husband is rich. They're billionaires. They need to go to that show. I also don't think that, to me, it did any good for her to go with all of the controversy. Like, she is a special person. She is a big deal. She doesn't need this drama. And to be honest, I don't care if other people did it because at the end of the day, this is my fave, right? If this is your fave, this is the person you rock with, you like, then it's about what your fave is doing. I don't care about what these other white people are doing. I'm talking about what she is doing. And I feel like we have to be able to do two things. Like, yes, there might be a disproportionate level of people being upset about what she did. And we can try to act like it's because she's black, she's this. But like, let's be real. At the end of the day, she is a big damn deal. And she is an artist that really is upfront about her being an ally and accomplice to the community. And I just feel like with everything going on right now in the world, read the room, right? And I just think this just was not a good move. Great performances, beautiful gowns, lovely gowns. But like, it's just not the move. And honestly, people stand so hard, they don't care. I get it. But like that's not fair discourse. I just feel like it can't always be, oh, well, other people do it, so we don't care. It's other white people that do it, we don't care. And if you're a cishet person that feels that way about this, I need you to listen to queer folks that are not, coming in bad faith. I was not a fan of that decision. Do I hate her? Am I going to cancel and not listen to her anymore? No, I'm gonna still rock with her, but I can also be able to say, you know what, girl, this wasn't good. This was not it. Not a fan. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and I'm not gonna act like it's okay. And it's not okay that Madonna did it either. It's not okay that any of these people did it, to be honest. But on where I stand on it, I just feel like fans better watch out not to be delusional stand so much that, like, even when you're person wrong, you still trying to whatever. Because that's the Chris Brown shit that they do, right? When Chris Brown do stuff, they be like, well, other people beat their girlfriend up, and what happened to them? Nobody should be beating their girlfriend up, including your fave. Like, that's not okay. So everybody needs to just, like, stop doing this delusional shit, because then this is how the R. Kellys of the world exist. I remember people used to talk about how we talk about R. Kelly when, you know, Jerry Lee Jones or whatever, Jerry Lee Lewis married his underage cousin in Great Balls of Fire. Okay. And that was how many years ago? Like, we just got to stop tit for tatting. And black people, we are the standard. So don't tell me what white people are doing when our people are doing wrong. We just say, listen, two wrongs don't make a right, and that ain't cool. We love you, girl, but don't do it again. Like, Beyonce don't need to go to Dubai again. You don't need that bag that much. If you need $35 million, listen, sweetie, put the tour out today. We can buy the concert tickets and the stadium tickets right now to give you 35 million reasons never to go back to Dubai. And that's just facts on facts. Speaking of people, now the sources are claiming that Drake, the rapper, of course, has recently, this is a source, allegedly, just canceled his 2023 tour. Apparently, he's supposed to have a concert in a FedEx Field on June 14th, but apparently they were told that the reason they canceled all the stadium concerts was because of, quote, challenges with cost supply chain issues. Y'all, it's ticket sales, it's other shit about to come out. All I gotta say is the streams not equaling ticket sales. They said the tour wasn't even announced yet. Something is weird about the supply chain. Is that his lyrical prowess? It's just weird. You know, I don't know. People are calling cap. I don't know. But that is what's being said. All I gotta say is Meg Thee Stallion, girl, stay woke. Well, not her stay woke, but she did that though. And is wild. And the Taylor Swift fans are going in. They said, because Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a guy. Karma is the breeze in my hair on the weekend. Karma's a relaxing thought. Aren't you envious that for you it's not sweet like honey? Karma is a cat purring in my lap because it loves me. Flexing like a goddamn acrobat. Me and Karma vibe like, listen, that is my shit. You know, Taylor Swift and Drake were like beefing apparently at one point on Instagram about the fact that his song that he did with 21 Savage didn't chart to #1, and you know Taylor Swift offsetted that. But you know, love me some Taylor. But a lot of people are saying that this man can't ever do a tour. Someone was saying nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. This man can't get through a tour. Like, what's up, Drake? But just, you know, some interesting stuff being said. So outside of that, you know, it's a lot going on out here in these streets. You know, there was some stupid drama that, you know, happened with Erykah Badu and some people sharing this fake ass meme about it was this fake ass meme about I think it was called natural. It was claiming that natural woman was a thing. They were claiming that the transgender community was upset with Aretha Franklin over the Natural Woman song. None of that was true. It was a fucking joke that someone posted some sarcasm. But Erykah Badu and other people passed this off. And it was really trying to perpetuate this fake narrative that the transgender community is overly sensitive, overly mad, and they're coming for our greats and legends. And none of this shit was true. It was all a lie. It was all a lie, guys. Here's the paperwork. It was all a lie. Like, none of this was true. And yet this narrative was being passed and being spread. And so I'm here to tell you all that it was bullshit. It wasn't true. And yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, putting that out there right now. Like, they lied. Now, I say all this to say that movies came out this week. Let me start with the good movie before I get to the bad movie. I'm in love with Tar. Tar came out on Peacock. That's the Cate Blanchett Oscar-nominated film. We're going to get to Oscar nominees in a minute. But Cate Blanchett is phenomenal in it. I already seen it earlier, like last October before it came out. Loved it even more. It's about cancel culture. It's about a lot of things. But Cate Blanchett is stellar in its performance. If she wins the Oscar, I mean, she's not my person. I want Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But if she loses, if Michelle Yeoh loses, Cate Blanchett better win. But it's a phenomenal performance. Cate Blanchett kills it. And you can now watch it on Peacock if you have it. And also, anybody been watching Bel-Air? Season 2 is dropping in February as well. So I'm excited about that. Now, let me say about a movie I was not excited about, and we talked about it a little bit. Kenya Barris' You People is now on Netflix. It has Laura London, Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, Julia Dreyfus, Louis Dreyfus. Her name is long, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Julia Dreyfus. David Duchovny. It's Nia Long. Kenya Barris, who's the creator of Blackish. I'm not a fan of his work. I didn't like Black AF, which is Black as Fuck on Netflix. I'm not a fan of him. This is his first feature debut. I guess, the good is it's aight. It's aight. It's okay. On the worst, it's corny. It's redundant. There are some moments, right? I guess. But it's just like, can we stop with the breakfast, the who's coming to dinner movies? Can we stop with that? Can we stop with these performative tropes on blackness and whiteness and these types of films and play into, can we just stop? It's like it's the cheesiest cliche. And honestly, this was not that good. I mean, how many more? I remember it was a movie called Guess Who with Ashton Kutcher, Zoe Saldana, and the late, great Bernie Mac. There was that film called Something New. It was Anaya Lathan, and it was this other actor that, that liked her or something. Simon Baker, I think his name was Simon. His name was the actor. But it's a lot of different these films. It's always on these bad predications and just overly cringy. It was cringy. I can't tell you how many times it was cringy. I just didn't like it. And there are people who just thought it was cute and funny and like stupid shit. And there's people that's like, oh my God, this is whack. It just wasn't it for me. I don't know. I'm not a killjoy. I just didn't find it that appealing. I mean, Eddie Murphy has strong moments. Julia Louis-Dreyfus had Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She had moments, but these are comedic pros that's been in business for decades, right? Jonah Hill, what happened to him? I was like, oh, this is not crazy about him. 2-time Oscar nominee, though. Yeah, I wasn't really excited about the film, for sure. Now about Oscar nominations itself. Oscar nominations overall were pretty good. As you all know, you can go back and listen. My predictions were pretty solid. There were some surprises. Best Picture was interesting. The Well didn't get nominated, but Triangle of Sadness did. Woman Talking got nominated, which I just recently saw. It's a good movie. Got nominated for Best Picture. Best Director was shocking. James Cameron didn't get nominated. But the director of the Triangle of Sadness did. All Quiet on the Western Front, which I was telling y'all about, the foreign language film on Netflix, it did get a lot of nominations. The most nominated film, though, was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It got 10, which included several nominations in certain categories. So, for example, Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis got finally nominated. Her parents were nominated for Oscars. That was great. Stephanie Hsu got nominated. Angela Bassett got nominated. It was a lot of great nominations there. Best Supporting Actor, Eddie Redmayne didn't pull it off in The Good Nurse. He didn't get nominated, which we kind of figured was going to happen. But for The Fabelmans, Paul Dano didn't get it. It was Jude Hirsch, which was surprising. Even Brian Tyree Henry, the great Brian Tyree Henry, Brian Tyree Henry, yeah. He got nominated. I mean, for his first time in Causeway, which is on Apple Plus. He's nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That performance has been getting some good buzz, but it didn't get into a lot of major categories. But he's a great actor. This is the guy who's Paperboy on Atlanta, the great show Atlanta, where he got an Emmy nomination there. He's been nominated for a Tony. He's so fucking talented. He was in the Book of Mormon. He's a great actor. He was in If Beale Street Could Talk. He was in Widows. He's been in a lot of great films. So I'm just happy to see him. This is a big damn deal. And he's got that. He's got it. He's just got the range. Really like him as an actor. Best Actor was really no surprise. I mean, pretty much the major people did, Brendan Fraser. Not Fraser, Fraser. It's Fraser, y'all, not Fraser. Everybody be like Brendan Fraser. It's Fraser, Brendan Fraser. Like Rihanna. It's not Rihanna, it's Rihanna. Rihanna. And Brendan Fraser. Fraser is the way to pronounce that last name. He's nominated. Austin Butler for Elvis. Of course, The Well was what Brendan Fraser starred in. Colin Farrell, first time nominee for the Banshees and Inisherin. Bill Nye for Living. And Paul Mescal for After Sun. All 5 of those guys are first-time nominees. Most of the nominees in the acting categories this year are first-time nominees across the board. Most of them. That's a pretty big damn deal. That's pretty good. Best Actress is interesting. So, surprising. So, first of all, Michelle Williams got the Best Actress Lead nomination. Shocker. I thought she was going to fade out, but she held on. Interesting. Michelle Yeoh, first Asian woman to be nominated. Now, it was another Asian woman back in the early decades, like in the 50s or whatever, but she hid her Asian identity when she was nominated. So it's like, well, was she the first Asian nominee? Maybe Michelle Yeoh's the first nominee in the leading role. Technically, they didn't nominate her openly as an Asian woman. They didn't know she was Asian. But Michelle Yeoh is the first openly Asian woman to be nominated. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. And she would be the second woman of color to ever win the lead actress Oscar. Now, many Asian women have won the supporting Oscar, well, a couple more. But lead actress never has happened. That's why we want her to win. It'll be a big damn deal. The other nominee was Anna de Armas in Blonde, which was shocking. Very shocking. Kate Blanchett for Tar, which we knew. But then here is a disappointing nomination. I'm personally disappointed with this nomination. There's a woman named, it's a woman named Andrea Riseborough, who's a British actress, who got nominated for a film called To Leslie. And I think I hinted that there was this little campaign of actors, trying to push for her. It worked, but there's a problem. This week, the Board of Governors of the Academy of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Academy Awards, their Board of Governors are meeting to discuss some concerns about how that went down and if the campaign violated. Now, I'm all up in the awards world. And so I'm very big on, accountability and tracking this stuff. Well, the Academy is very clear that, the problem is that there were actors like Frances Fisher, who starred in Titanic, who isn't an Oscar voter. She addressed her fellow Oscar voters on a public platform during voting week, and she told people that, Viola Davis were locks, and basically strongly suggesting they didn't deserve number 1 votes, but Riseborough does, and 218 of them for a nomination. That's a problem. That she was campaigning aggressively in ways that targeted this. And I read her Instagram post that is now being controversial. And she said, quote, "To my fellow actors in the Academy, according to the Deadline, writing for Deadline, Andrea Riseborough can secure an Oscar nomination if 218 out of 1,300 actors in the actors branch nominate her in the first position for Best Actress. Seems to be that Viola, Michelle, and Kate are a lock for their outstanding work. Watch To Leslie on the Academy Screening Room app, enjoying the groundswell of support to honor Andrea's fine work. Hashtag room for all, hashtag room at the top." This is dirty, y'all. This is against Academy rules. And basically what happened was this white woman pushed another white woman to go forward. And as a result of this narrative and this misleading information, Viola Davis and Danielle Deadwaller, 2 Black actresses, were basically cut from being nominated in these performances. Because basically people drank that Kool-Aid. A lot of campaigning was happening from other famous actors. And so people really pushed for her to get nominated. in a way that basically hurt and undermined it. 2 black actresses for being nominated. So there is some backlash in this black actress category. A lot of you all are probably shocked. This wasn't a simple snub. This was an aggregated campaign to basically push this white woman forward at the expense of 2 black women losing. So now the Academy has to look into this and figure out, should this nomination be rescinded? I am not a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, but as a strong supporter of the Oscars and viewer of it, I am publicly speaking out and campaigning that the nomination gets rescinded. And I'm willing to bet that either Danielle Didwaller or Viola Davis is in that next 5th slot. Now, let's be clear. The Academy in the past have rescinded nominations in previous categories. At least 13, I believe. This is not the first time they've had to do this. But this needs to happen in this category. They need to rescind this nomination. How it worked, they cheated. They violated the rules. You want your fave to win, do it a different way. But to publicly put out misinformation and run a misinformation campaign that threatens other viable nominees competing is disgusting and problematic. I think that, if you're going to tell, Will Smith, rules are the rules, and suspend him for 10 years, there needs to be a consequence for this situation, because it's obvious that this negatively impacted black actresses who were trying to get their nominations. So I think this is very important. I have some concerns about it, and I hope that the Board of Governors get their act together and step up. Now, on to some good TV. Abbott Elementary, so fabulous. Love them. I love them. It's a great show. Can never complain. As far as everything else goes, I've been watching Baddies West. It's my guilty pleasure. They're officially back on. Watch the first episode of Zeus. Love it. Crazy in Love with Christian and Blueface. That just finished. They only had a couple of episodes. That just finished and wrapped up. So that is out of way. But I'm loving what I'm seeing on this Baddies West. Christian is back on that show. Roly Poly. There's a lot of people. I like my little Ratchet TV. And I've been watching Loving Hip Hop, Family Reunion, which is also juicy as well. So I'm watching some TV. Trash TV as always. Now, before I wrap up the show, Grammys. I'm going to the Grammys this weekend. I'm headed out on Friday in LA. I'm there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leaving on on Monday. Be back in Philly like Monday, midday, like 3:00ish. But I'm in the Grammys this weekend. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to the shows, the after parties, the brunches, the mixers. I'm going to be in the room where the music and in the room where it happens. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing Beyonce win Album of the Year. That is what I'm here for. I'm here for Renaissance to win. I am here. I am decked out. I have my clothes. You know what, y'all? I got the new Telfar wallet, by the way. Got it black to go with my Telfar, my Telfeezy. The wallet is beautiful. It's gorgeous. 100% genuine leather, which is not like their bags, but they went all in with these wallets. First time ever. They're all sold out, of course, but the wallet came fast. I got it within 2 days. Telfar is doing it, okay? But I'm super excited about the Grammys. I'm super excited about just going, meeting people, networking, promoting the book. I'm just super excited. I'm very excited about this experience. You all are going to get a special edition episode just about the Grammys experience, because I know I'm going to see people. There's going to be moments. Who knows what will happen, but it's super excited as always. I got some good clothes. Cannot wait for y'all to see what I am wearing on the red carpet when I'm going to wear at the award show. I have a badass outfit. My mother picked it out. Everything I'm wearing is first-time pieces. It is going to be insanity. But I'm there for Beyonce. If Beyonce wins Album of the Year, she's the 4th Black woman in music history to ever win Album of the Year. This will also be her 4th nomination for Album of the Year. She was previously nominated for I Am Sasha Fierce, Beyonce self-titled, Lemonade, and now Renaissance. 4 times a charm for her. There's something symbolic about all these 4s. This is it. She's going to win. I'm speaking into existence, and I will be in that crowd, and I'll be screaming and yelling and losing my mind, losing my breath. But Beyonce will win Album of the Year. It will be the moment we've all been waiting for. It will be a standing ovation. It will be emotions. We're speaking it into existence. We're manifesting it. I'm going to hear Amanda yelling at the TV screen. I'm going to be yelling. The whole country is going to shake. Like, this is the moment we've been waiting for. It's time. And I'm going to be in the room historically seeing this happen. And also, I'm super excited. I think Viola Davis is going to get EGOT for audiobook, which means that she will finally have an Emmy a Grammy, which I hope she finally gets now, an Oscar, and a Tony she already has. This is her big moment. I'm excited about her as well. And I'm just excited to be in LA, see some great people, make some things happen. Y'all know y'all about to get all the exclusives. I'm just taking some time, gonna get my facial, get my skincare together, my cryofacial, haircuts, nails are gonna be done. Y'all gonna see it all. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and social media. Follow the journey. I'm gonna announce it to non-podcast listeners officially when I touch flight in LA. I'm gonna be like, y'all surprised I'm the Grammys in LA. The rest of y'all already know that, but nobody else gonna know it because I haven't said anything on social media outside this podcast. So I'm super excited about it, y'all. Love y'all. It's gonna be great. And this podcast is about to pop off. I already know it. So as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.